One final season to wrap up what has been a truly brilliant shake-up for this opening season of iRacing Creator Series. In terms of where we jump to, it's the home of where sim racing is put together. It is the place where Sim Racing Expo often finds itself. It is the place beyond places where you think great sim racing comes to life. Welcome to the Nürburgring and the Grand Prix Strecke for 60 final laps worth of racing action here today. My name's Jake Sperry. John Isamusing Harris is along with me for the ride. And John, at the end of a very long season, this is the last chance for creators this season to give the bragging rights, to say, I am the best of the best.
Oh yeah, the cherry on top of that superb cake that we've had this season. It's just one of those combinations. High downforce, long flowing corners. What is there not to love? And I'm sure drivers will want to go out with that race victory. The problem is, when everyone wants that, there can only be one.
There can only be one winner, and what a car to finish off the season with. The good old-fashioned car in iRacing known as the Williams FW31, a car that pretty much came into play 2009 when it was right on top of regulation changes, and it's also known as the car that made Gregor Hutu so great in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. 5 world titles he was able to pick up, predominantly using that machinery available. But we're going to talk a little bit of racing action and what will make these creators tick, because this Grand Prix circuit here at the Nürburgring is one of those tracks, John, which doesn't necessarily have the massive overtaking zone that gives you the chance to leapfrog over the lap. It is incredibly technical as you race right down to the bottom of the circuit down at the Goodyear Spangler and then back up the hill once again to make sure that your lap is sorted by the time you reach the Hyundai N-curve.
Yeah, it's one of those tracks that has a little bit of everything. Chicanes, long flowing corners, changes in elevation. Nürburgring, Nordschleife, you know, it's like that kind of context with that kind of track. It's one that I think drivers respect but also fear a little bit, because one little bit of a mistake and you're wide and there's very low grip sometimes in the slower corner, so it can be quite difficult to set up an overtake. But you've got to wait for somebody to make a mistake in front of you. Qualifying can be important here, and with a car with such high downforce and sort of low wheelbase as well, a very short car, because it was the last year of non-refueling in Formula 1. And I think it's one of those cars that can be driven aggressively, and that suits this circuit. So we're going to have some really fun racing, I think, today.
I think we are as well, and we are not a million miles away from qualifying taking its effect. We'll have 10 minutes of that in order to put it on the board. There is how your championship standings look after Kamikaze by nature rolled it over last week over at Wild West. It was a case of, well, is this championship still alive or is it not? The answer is yes, it's alive, with the way that Sparks sets himself up at 2,307. He needs to score 273 points. But to say that the maths, I would look at this, John, it's a case of how many I's and T's need to be dotted and crossed before Kamikaze becomes champion.
Yeah, most definitely. It would have to be one of the most spectacular races ever in terms of bad results for Kamikaze for this one to be alive. But then again, it is Creator Series. I've seen some other things happen in the seasons that we've had, so never say never, as they say. And with cars that have such high stakes here, as we can see the results of that with one of the unsafety cars losing its rear wing, I'm sure that's not going to be a problem during the race. Yeah, you've got to be fully committed in this one. And it's very, very possible in the midfield to get caught up in collisions, and it can all go the way of the other driver at the end of the day. So they will be driving until the last lap on this one. They will be giving it everything. But for Sparks, it's very simple. Got to win in quali, got to win during the race.
Yeah, looking at Brendan Hyperstar at the moment, donning the VR today and making that challenge and really attacking through the very fast right-hand bend to climb back up the hill once again. That was the Bilstein curve through the Falkenbogen and up to the Wiedel chicanery now comes the charge. Once you're done out of that section, you've got the small shoot run here over towards that final corner, which is the Hyundai N-curve. It's gone by many names over the course of the years, and then that launch along the main straight, and that small dip down, of course, to where you attack turn number 1 out on track, entering into the AMG arena, which was redesigned in 2003 by, of all people, Herman Tilke.
Yes, indeed. And one of the sections which gives you a lovely overtaking opportunity, including compared to the previous version into turn 1, because it's a very long braking zone downhill and you're turning at the same time. So a lot of trail braking required. Probably one of the most difficult corners of a racetrack that is on a world calendar, as they say. So very, very tricky, but it does give you opportunities. You kind of got to then through sector 1 keep it a little bit line astern and not fight too hard, but then into sector 2 and 3 it opens up a little bit, with the third to last and penultimate turn being that chicane uphill, where you can really get alongside and hope to make it past the car in front of you. And yeah, it's going to be very technical to overtake. But the good news is, as we were discussing before the broadcast, is that this car, very lightweight, nimble, and it was one of those technical years where a lot of development happened. Of course, this car notorious for having that double diffuser in 2009, one of the 3 cars that had it. But also, crucial for this race, no KERS on this car. So they can't have the push-to-pass button, as we call it.
No, it was just on the cusp of that era, and actually Williams and subsequently Toyota as well, John, were thinking about a brake-by-wire system at the time to work a flywheel to generate that extra, power over the course of the lap against the electronic version of the KERS.
Yes, and would you believe, I find out just by pure chance clicking on a link here and there, that they actually used that technology, did Williams, in combination with Audi for their R18 Le Mans car. So it actually did get used during the racing venues, I guess, or the racing world in an actual competitive event. I forget the year, however, where it was used, but the R18 used the flywheel system because it was deemed more reliable for 24 hours. So Williams engineering definitely has its prowess in terms of new technologies. However, it must be said, during the 2009 season, they really struggled to keep development up on the car. I think the only time they led a race was Malaysia, which was round 2 of the season. So that non-use of the KERS, although it proved very popular during the year, it didn't really help them on the development front. But it was a stable car, although not performing so well in the races.
Yeah, and here is Kamikaze onto a flying lap, exiting turn 4 out of the arena, massive kick, and you could see the whites of his eyes there behind his glasses as he works himself in through turn number 5 and down the hill into the Padgett Racing curve here at turn number 6, looking to really open up off of the exit of the corner and say, this is where I can attack my line. Heading now through to the Goodyear hairpin and back up again to the fabled quick Schumacher-esque, the left-right flick. Then going through, you'll be flat out through this section and then up to the Xiaomi curve. It is 90-degree left, so easy to overcook it into the corner and then get back over to the other side there, John, to make sure you can attack the exit of Bilstein and go through to the Falkenbogen.
Yeah, I was so curious watching Kamikaze keep that oversteer in check. Just not even flinching into the chicane, a little bit of a lock-up into the entry, but sets it up nicely. He's dealing with that oversteer very, very well. You've got to keep it on power, but you need a wide entry into the last turn. Keep it close to the exit and then gun it on the throttle. You want to be as early as possible, because not only on this lap, but on the next lap, if you want to go again, you have to keep all the speed. It's a long straight line after this. Braking down to turn 1, trail braking to the inside, and you want to keep it as close to the inside because it just washes out on the exit. So Ryan LA23 setting the pace at the moment with Kamikaze, must be said, 1.3 seconds behind Brendan Hyperstar 2.2, so probably the mistakes there setting in. But you can tell Kamikaze's a WRC driver by heart, because the snap of oversteer, he didn't even react. It was just a normal day, normal Thursday afternoon for him.
We talk about qualifying, picking up points. Sparks, a driver who will need to pick up as many as possible. Couldn't quite get the lap time done then in that first lap. It did not count over towards. In fact, this is his first flying lap at the moment, really looking to try and use the Bridgestone tyres underneath to go and make as much of this as possible. This also an interesting point to go to. These Bridgestones, last year the Bridgestones got used before the switch over to Pirelli.
I'm maybe misremembering. Did they use them in 2010? But this was the last time they used the narrow compound on the lightweight cars with the low fuel. So a very soft compound and very grippy, and that means you can really nail it through the turns, keep it turning, and keep the power down as much as possible. And the tyre will react very well. It's a stable tyre to drive on, and so it gives the drivers a lot of confidence into the corners. So yeah, the drivers really loved the era of Bridgestone because it was quali lap after quali lap in the races. And then when they switched to Pirelli, it was obviously engineered differently by request of the FIA to be a lot more degradation on there. But can he get a lap in his can Sparks? Let's see, across the line. So 34.5. Is that, I'm seeing that right? That's top of the leaderboard. Or no, P3. The times have not updated for me at the moment. But yeah, P3. That's a good start. But Kamikaze, yeah, he's still ahead. So, sorry to say for Sparks.
Yep, so Kamikaze on a 34.2 has got enough, but it is Ryan L83 who is 8/10 clear in qualifying. Storm Molina then looking to try and charge us a little deep into the Vidal chicanery, so that is going to compromise off the exit in for the final corner. You got Alex Gillen in 4th, Aerotech up to 5th, and Matt 212 in 6th position. 35.5 though, despite that, so it's a gain of 7/10 of a second. But critically here, John, not enough for Storm Molina to improve on 9th position. And here is the world's fastest doggo. It is, of course, Blueberry, and not yet setting a qualifying lap. Predicted for a low 34, so this is going to threaten the front of the order if it's been clean the entire way through. A lot of curb off of the exit. 34.4 over the line. 3rd for Blueberry.
Lovely stuff. Yeah, that was a clean lap. It looked like very committed. Aerotech a little bit wild into the last chicane. I just want to point out for Ryan, he swore blindly to me before this race that he would not win this race. So I'm going to call him out on that one right here, right now, as he sits on provisional pole position. Did Aerotech improve? I do not see an improvement, sadly, so maybe an invalidation there. Matt's 212 now. Very used to the open wheeler cars, so hopefully he can get a good lap on the board. It looks a little bit snappy on the rear end, so oh, Sparks P2 there, and improvements, goes ahead of Kamikaze by 0.2 of a second. Matt does not improve on that lap, according to my telemetry.
No, it's a 34.9, did improve, but not enough to jump up and gain a place. So stuck in 7th behind Aerotech by a couple hundredths and thousandths out there. And here is Alex Gillen climbing up the hill, currently on a 34.6. So it's 1.2 seconds off the pace of pole at the moment, using the traditional Williams setup then in terms of livery, charging through the final corner, really looking to attack for the line, and it's a 33.6 that goes down. That's a full second's improvement, but critically still needs about 0.2 of a second to dethrone Ryan L83.
Yeah, we really see the familiarity of the cars coming for some of the drivers. Ryan, for Alex Gillen, I would say also from Matt, but at the moment it's being a little bit tricky. Monkey Matt, another driver who has a decent experience in all types of cars, so he should be able to be quite adaptable here, but it's just not happening at the moment. I think the sector time's a little bit inconsistent, although according to me he's up by quite a bit, by 0.8 of a second for the moment, so we'll have to wait and see what the lap is like. No DRS on this car as well, so those DRS boards will have no consequence for our drivers today. And let's see the last chicane, braking very late near the 50-meter board there, getting it rotated. Very easy to brake uphill, but it's also very easy to lock the front and indeed the rear tyres. So a nice line, a little bit wide. No, he's washed wide on that last corner. That's going to be so frustrating. Across the line, it's a 35.7, which I think is a little bit of an improvement, but it stays P11.
Yep, so could find a 10th, but not enough to jump Storm Molina out there. Kamikaze in 4th position. Alex Gillen looking to improve in 2nd on screen right now, but it is getting a little bit close in and around the 34s, and there's a jump up from Punju, who goes 7th on a 34.8. Gillen, 33.607, improves again, but not much that can be done. But will there be enough? Guess what? There's the look from Blueberry, trying to rush on forward and make this all work round the final corner and over towards the line. We'll see what Blueberry can manage here, crossing the line. It's a 1:34.5, so 0.2 out in terms of improvement there for the time being. So a lot of work to be done in order to jump. But remember, when that checkered flag comes out in about 20 seconds, that's it. That's your final lap attempt. Sparks is going to cross the line in time, and I think Brendan Hyperstar behind is also going to. So with 7 seconds to go, the clock is ticking. With 4 seconds to go, the clock's ticking. Ryan L83 is just on the wrong side of the checkered flag, crosses the line and will not be able to go. Kamikaze is in the pit, so won't be able to improve. Formula Kai then will look to be the first one over towards the lines. We focus on with Sparks at the moment, and there's no time set from Kai, so keep working your way back. Monkey, oh, that's a hefty one there going into the barriers. Monkey Matt did a 34.9, went 9th position. Ancephalosis has spun on the final corner. Killer Cleo looking to put a time in, as well as Punju coming to the line. Punju won't improve. Gillen's not going to find anything diving down to the pits. Team Marduk's overcooked it, so now it turns to Blueberry, who in terms of this lap, who can dethrone Ryan L83, or better yet for Blueberry, can there be a jump up the order from 5th to a little bit more than that, rounding the Hyundai N-curve and making that charge to the line. Blueberry crossing for it. 34.5 isn't going to cut the mustard. Storm Molina being chased down by Aerotech, and then only Sparks after that. Storm Molina takes a very nice line, she does, running on forward, looking to try and push there, especially with the Red Bull announcement for the F4 Championship, the British F4 Championship. Great to see Storm Molina there with that. 36 ain't going to do it. Aerotech's not going to improve, and in the pits goes Sparks. Pole for Ryan L83.
Yeah, I mean, that was an insane lap right from the get-go. He just announced that he wanted pole position and just put everybody under pressure. And everybody's been trying to catch him, but just with so much to find in terms of pace, you overpush the limit in this car and you can lose a lot of time. And only people like Alex Gillen and Sparks were able to get quite close to the time. So it'll be interesting during the race, because quali pace is not the same as race pace.
So confirmation on your screen, Ryan L83 takes points maxima then by putting the car up where it needs to be. Alex Gillen 2nd, and Sparks will go from 3rd. It's then Kamikaze and Blueberry 4th and 5th, with Matt 212 in 6th and Punju in 7th. Aerotech, who won last time out, will go from 8th, with Monkey Matt, who won the season opener, there in 9th position. And then your Creator Series Indy 500 champion, Brendan Hyperstar, will have to go from P10. So that is where everyone stacks up. They've got 5 minutes now to sort themselves out and give themselves a great showcase of racing here to make this challenge. And I am really looking forward to, as far as it goes, John, to say it's a full 60 laps. They are going to need to work out when is the right time for them to get this strategy sorted. And they will also be turning around thinking, right, this is going to be a circuit where I don't really want it cold.
Yeah, for sure. It's difficult to warm up the tyres around here, and it can be low track grip in any case under any tyre temperature, so it'll be very critical. And we might be able to speak to Ryan a little bit about the topics that we want to talk about. So, Ryan, first of all, you said to me that you don't think you have much chance of winning this race. I want to point that out and bring that up. But qualifying seems to have gone very well for you. On pole, starting into turn 1, how do you think it's going to go, and are you happy with that result?
First off, hello to you all. I'm not confident, only because of the fact that we're doing a rolling start, so don't know what that's going to entail, because having done this car when it first came out years and years ago, so I'm a boomer on iRacing, it's unpredictable what's going to happen, especially with creators who have never driven this car. map, for example, Monkey Map, for example, and he got the track and, well, the car actually today. So it's going to be very interesting, and it'll be good fun, though. I used to love these cars in the day. Nothing's really changed in them in terms of tyre models and stuff like that, so it's going to be a bunch of laughs, but obviously I know there's a championship technically still alive, so I've just got to be careful I don't get caught in that.
Ryan, it's a little bit blowy out there today. 24km/h winds coming in from north to south. Is that causing a little bit of a nightmare for you when you're getting through the high-speed sections and every time it's a headwind?
Oh, of course. The wind's going to be a factor as well. Not sure what it's like on the straight against the cars behind. Funny enough, I've got Alex Gillen behind me, so this could be an indicator, but you can see the draft is just crazy with the wind. Gillen gained quite a bit of time on me there, but obviously I'm not really paying attention right now. But yeah, I think the wind direction's going to be a factor. Slipstream's going to be interesting, and there'll be plenty of overtakes, I think, today.
Hopefully you don't get caught out like Nico Rosberg did with a gust of wind, but how do you think the consistency is going to come into it? Because setting one lap as you race Alex Gillen in the warm-up, but oh, you went for it, good man. But how do you think it's going to be in terms of forcing drivers into another mistake? Is it difficult, or is it something that you know how to do?
It's something I can do. As funny enough, Cammy's just messaged me going, "What's the strat for the race?" But it's going to be interesting, I think. Really, I don't know what I'm trying to say something, but I'm trying to keep Gillen behind me right now. But it will be interesting, is all I'm going to say on the matter, I think. And it's a good finale combination to do, I think, as well.
Very quickly, Ryan, just looking at your shirt, which Argentine are you going to dedicate the win to if you manage to do it?
I didn't even know it was Argentinian, so it's got a bit of pink on it, but I have no idea. Can't think of any Argentinian F1 drivers, so if anybody in the chat will know, first one that pops up, I'll be that for this evening.
Fangio? Go with Fangio. Old reliable. Ryan L83 joining us there and deciding that his knowledge of racing drivers from Argentina is a little bit lacking there, John.
No comment on that one. I think, to be fair, he was more concentrated on getting taken out there in the last game.
Yeah, let's take a look at your grid then. Ryan L83 will be on the pole position with Alex Gillen alongside in the 77. A 10.5 split them in qualifying. Sparks and Kamikaze, it's an all-title challenge. Row 2 of the grid with your 5th place position belonging to Blueberry, and Matt 212 will be starting this one from P6. Row 4 will have Punju and Aerotech for company, a battle of America versus Canada, as Monkey Matt from New Zealand will go from 9th, along with Brendan Hyperstar in the 10, starting from P number 10. Storm Molina and Ancephalosis will be 11th and 12th positions, and looking back through to 13th and 14th, you have Josh's Corner in that 13th place, and Killer Cleo there in 14th, slightly outside of the 107% rule. Tom 97 and Tiamat Marduk failed to put times together in qualifying, so they will have to work themselves from a little bit further back. There's a couple of unsafety cars today, which Nick Pakin, the likes of the unsafety Clio, will work through, and TK will do at that point. So that's Scotty Designs in the third one. Formula Kai will have a couple of grid stalls to try and work back from before pulling back up. It's a short pace lap they're going to have before the 60 laps will get themselves sorted, so a chance to briefly warm the tyres up as they get themselves ready for racing. This has got a little bit of the Boss GP vibes here, getting these old cars out, John, and giving them an opportunity to race.
Yeah, I used to love trying to figure out the strategies here. I think it might be a 2 or 3 stop, to be honest. It's quite a small fuel tank, and it does guzzle through the fuel. There's no hybrid system to help you save fuel, so probably no lifting and coasting, but strategies are interesting because on a track where it's difficult to overtake, maybe fueling up a little bit and going for that longer 2 stop, so you've got an overcut where you've got less fuel in the car, compared to people that pit before you can maybe gain you a few places, but then again, you know, maybe you just go a 3-stop anyway and do quali laps until the end. Who knows? It's going to be strategy, and I do love that, but it's also going to be very, very tricky racing.
It will be, and especially when you've got both Sparks and Kamikaze together, and you know how critical it will be when Kamikaze decides to put his pace in on board with Sparks at the moment in the number 65, and very cheeky over there from Ryan-L83, and they are swapping about here, Ryan-L83 and Alex Gillen, trying to prove that I want to be in front, I want to be in front. It is one of the tighter opening corners you'll find in motorsport, turn 1 at the Nürburgring Grand Prix, Strecker. Very similar to the likes of turn 2 in reverse of Sepang, where you drop down the hill, very, very akin of a Tilke trademark as they go through. Ryan-L83 with the inside, holding massively, going through and looking for a big old launch, and gets the absolute stone drop on everybody else. 60 lap starts now in your Creator Series Season 1 finale here on iRacing. Here comes Sparks down the inside looking for second place, and will there be enough drive on the exit? You bet there will, but it'll be the outside for the next 2 corners of the AMG Arena. Has to lift out the steering, and now here comes Kamikaze looking for opportunities. Everybody has made their way through. Tiamat Marduk started from the pits, but it's a clean start here at the Nürburgring.
Good start from Matt 212 as well, up to P5 and challenging Kamikaze to the inside, late braking. Kamikaze has to leave the space, but just slams the door shut a little bit. Punju doing very well. Blueberry, I think, dropping a little bit behind from their starting position, but everybody, I think, making their way cleanly through. We've got the unsafety cars that have cleared the pack as well, but you can see through the second sector, you've just got to bide your time, make sure the tyres are up to temperature, make sure everything's working well. The fuel balance will throw you off a little bit compared to warm-up, because you will be just trying to find your marks and hoping to not lock up, but any mistake right now will drop you at least 2 positions, so they've just got to keep it calm and confident. But a gap of 0.6 of a second right at the front there. Ryan is pulling away a little bit visibly.
The one driver who's not confident is Tom97. He's thrown it in the barriers down the Padgett Racing curve and is missing his front wing. So he's had himself an issue. Outside of that, it's been nice off of the start of this race. Everybody's found themselves in line, knowing that this is a tough one. Gillen around and almost glocks himself into the wall there. Just about able to flick spin it round and keep going again, but now behind Formula Kai.
Caught the rear wheel on the curb and then just lit up the tyres, and that's going to be devastating, not only for positions lost, but those tyres will be thoroughly flat spotted and or overheated. So this is going to be painful for Alex. Hopefully he's got a lot of fuel in that car, because he'll want to do an overcut in terms of strategy now as he looks to go around the outside of Ancephalosis. He'll try and do a switchback, but that means also that Sparks has a little bit of a difficult situation, because he needs to try and close in on Ryan. In terms of the championship, anything less than a victory is less than optimal or indeed impossible at the moment, as Killer Cleo has been overtaken by Ancephalosis. So I think there's been a little bit of an issue there for Killer Cleo, and Alex Gillen gets ahead as well.
Yeah, the front wing really damaged for Killer Cleo right now, so something's gone horribly wrong. That's the spin, and so close to catching the gap in the guardrail there through the final section too. That would have caused a lot of troubles, like Kamikaze around with Blueberry out there on track. So a pair of them going wrong, and it was Kamikaze across the road who has completely tagged Punju in all of it.
Yeah, Punju broken suspension. He's trying to get it back. You can see that front right wheel just completely at a 20-degree angle. You can see him there, and the wing is broken as well. Look at that car crabbing. So everybody's going to have to be a little bit cautious trying to overtake. They might not be able to. And Sparks trying to get back as well, but I think there's no damage right there. No, Sparks wasn't. It was not Sparks. I think it was Storm Molina that was caught up in that one. But look at that car over there. Tricky situation. But for Kamikaze, this is now terrible.
You do have 4 fast repairs, but Kamikaze's had to tow and is now going to be on the back foot as far as this race is stood. Lap 3 here of 60, and immediately there are championship ramifications that have brought themselves into play. It's just a case of finishing, I believe, at this point with the match for Kamikaze to become champion. But if you don't finish, you're not going to score the point. So he's heavy over the curb at the Schumacher S, full 360s, and then runs out of time as Punju just vaults over him as if he thinks he's Ralf Schumacher.
Yeah, also Mark Webber, I remember in Valencia, just clipping the back of, I think it was Heikki Kovalainen's car, and just getting sent airborne, so very tricky. Yeah, just lost it, clipped the curb, lost it, and then nowhere to go. Blueberry did such a good job avoiding that, and nearly gets the same thing. My days! I think that was Storm Molina doing that avoidance technique, but incredible reaction time.
Yeah, and that reaction time being so critical to the racing out there. That's your gap at the front, 2.7 seconds right now for Ryan L83. Of course, talking about the era where he used to drive this car, of course, being part of the Radicals Online sim racing team back in the day, which would have challenged in this championship with the likes of Kazuki Umeshima and Yuta Saito, the Japanese duo who pretty much set Japanese sim racing up as a standard back in the day, and of course that was under the leadership of Rob Cuss. But you've got Blueberry still looking to try and work back through the order along with Alex Gillen just behind. So now up to 9th, she'll eye up 8th, and she'll eye up more if Monkey Matt goes wide like that at turn number 1. Very difficult to pick a braking zone at turn 1 because the track does pivot over to the right just as you hit the brakes.
And a lot of these corners are off camber as well, so they look quite flat here, but when you go and turn in, the car just does not want to do anything, and so you're just waiting to get on throttle. I think that's what happened to Alex as well in the last turn when he spun. He was anticipating more grip, and then the track flattened out, and it changed the balance of the car, and it was over right there. But we've got the battle here for 8th with Josh's corner, just trying to defend at the moment. But this is, no, on board with Storm Molinas with Monkey Matt ahead. Same liveried cars, I guess, in terms of colour, so a little bit, the graphics just messing up a little bit there. But yeah, it's so difficult to just defend because you've got that constant pressure in these quite long braking zones, it must be said. So you've just got to try and keep your cool and, I don't know, just try and find where they're weak. All of the drivers, if they can see the car ahead, they will be analysing this, and Blueberry is definitely close enough to do some analysis right now. Around the outside, not, surely not. Yeah, Josh's corner will defend that one, and you have to get up the inside into that chicane. It's just not open enough to do that. But if you can stay close enough to the driver in front, you can have a look and see where they're weak, and then just get a plan of when you're going to overtake.
Here's the issue: if you can't get to the inside of Josh's corner, it's Josh's corner's place. That's all you have to say. And Blueberry's a lot more confident on the brakes. You can see he had to take 2 massive stabs of it to avoid running up the rear. And now attacking through turn 2, heading over to turn 3, looking for that angle down the inside. Not going to happen at the moment. Working off the exit as well and needing drive to go and make that happen, but it's still not quite there. It's middle of the road there from Josh's corner, who's proving that this is going to be a tricky customer to deal with, and Alex Gillen will join. But if you're going to run wide out the Padgett Racing curve, that's the easiest place you can get that pass done.
Yeah, it wasn't even an opportunity there. It was a clean overtake. They just get 2 wheels on the gravel, unfortunately, and that means the passes. Look at the amount of gravel on the track right now. There have been a few people off, I think, at the hairpin at the bottom of the circuit. And I think, wow, okay, this must be Alex Gillen, yeah, going for the overtake, and that is confidence. I think Josh maybe has some dirt on the tyres at the moment, or feeling a lot less confident than he did. So Alex making his way up, not P9, with a little bit of gravel in his trails at the moment, but that is some serious pace. Maybe the red mist has come down a little bit. In any case, Blueberry is catching now Storm Molina, but they've been given a little bit of reprieve for the moment, so that will be a closing gap, as Ryan seems to just want to cement his place at the top with that fastest lap.
Yep, and has done so, and puts Killer Cleo 1 lap down in this race. Encephalosis is off the road. Then coming out of the Vidal chicanery, needing to try and get the car back together. There might have been a tap from behind from Formula Kai, and so as that went through, you really do need confidence to put the power down, but those rear wheels, they want to spin up with how much torque you put through them.
Especially when you start off, so let's see what happens here. Oh, yeah, oh, no, Antiplosis must have lost it by himself then on the exit. No, yes, he did. What a weird place. You've got the traction. I guess he tried to go full throttle, that last little bit of acceleration, and it must have been a tiny bit too quick, and he was probably just 10 degrees of turning. So Punju here, what happens? Maybe a wheel on the grass? No, a good entry, but loses it on the inside curb, takes too much curb, then bottoms out on the floor pan, and you can't get any grip there.
No, nothing can be done in a scenario like that, so the door just opens up for more to chase down. Next up for Punju to worry about would be Ancephalosis behind, has now lost the place to Tiamat Marduk, who is now up into 12th place because of it. Here's your three then. It's Kamikaze, Storm Melina, and Blueberry as far as your three in this group go for what will be now a case of how they go. But of course, Kamikaze is a lap down and not battling these drivers directly for position. So Blueberry looking for a way to get by Storm Melina, gets a pretty decent run out to the Hyundai N-Curve, and now we'll have the chance to launch this one into turn number one. How good will this be on the inside? Just not enough. Storm Melina, very resolute on the brakes, had that one scouted.
Good defending there, just keeping the inside as we got a car off there. I think that was Killer Cleo parked, possibly. But yeah, just looking at the timing, was Killer Cleo in that yellow livery car. But the defending was very, very good from Storm Melina there, just keeping the inside, making sure that you can't do the switch back. And it's only right going down into the hairpin, really, where you can start to form an overtake. Not running wides, just keeping the apex and just making to get good traction. And yeah, it's going very well. I can take Kamikaze a little bit slow here ahead, so that might be creating some dirty air right now. Although they're not forced to give up the position, even if they're not fighting for track position, it can just unsettle the car. And look how close Blueberry is able to get because of that.
Yeah, really chasing up the Schumacher S, getting that one to about a quarter of a second, 3/10, before running in through the Xiaomi curve. Now to Bilstein here, this long right-hander, wait for the attack off the exit and back up the hill again. The slipstream so critical here as Storm Melina's going to have to go defensive, but chooses not to as the lunge down the inside comes into play, tries to run around the outside, and there's a spin for Kamikaze and for Blueberry, who goes around and just about avoids the troubles. Alex Gillen picks the freebie up.
Oh, that's going to be a smile from Alex Gillen, although he might have been a little bit shocked that happened in front of him. He's going to have to defend it, though. They've both lost a little bit of time. Blueberry to the inside. It will be last of the late breakers into turn one. Blueberry has the inside and has closed it off. Wow, a huge late braking, and has made the apex as well. That was a form of attack and indeed then of defense that I've scarcely seen, showing Alex Gillen for once how it's done. That is very rare.
Yep, Alex Gillen, the sort of driver who always seems to lead at the front by example. It's not often he has that happen. So this is Kamikaze's version of events. So pretty much hits the curb and just thinks the car's settled, and the back just snaps without warning.
Yeah, there's a lot of places on this track where you have some bumps or ripples in the track surface. You know, it's quite mountainous terrain, so you can't get the track very, very flat, especially this last turn. If you watch on board, the car is constantly bouncing, and so you think to apply the throttle and you think initially, oh, I've got good traction. All of a sudden the car bounces and you've lost it completely, right like Tiamat Marduk has done at that last turn. Once again, just on those bumps, on those ripples, you think you've got more grip than you have, and it just gets away from you. Thankfully, he was able to keep going. Kamikaze on board with him now, no longer a replay this, so live footage, and he's just looking to try and get some time back, but without there being a safety car at the moment, he's in a little bit dire straits. Although it must be said, he can finish the race right now in this position and potentially still win the championship, so it's not all bad at the moment, but I'm sure he wants to make a comeback.
They're asking at the moment, or Sparks is asking, what is going on with this pace at the front from Rhinal83? The fact he's so far in front, he said, chicken korma before the race. That might be where my pace has come from.
it did look quite delicious, to be honest. So I can validate that one. He's got good reason to have the pace at the moment. I mean, Ryan is very well versed in high downforce cars. You know, from all of the endurance racing that he's done, all of the open wheeler stuff, as you said. So yes, I definitely agree with our race director there that you know, there should be a penalty for unfair advantage in terms of racecraft that has happened at least 5 years ago. That's definitely a valid penalty, isn't it, Jake?
Well, I think the valid penalty should be the fact that he's not got his snooker cue with him, and so we're going to have to deduct him a case of about 8 points per lap that he goes by, one for a red and a black.
Totally unbiased commentary team here, not having any sort of prejudice against Ryan right now, but he is doing a great job at the moment, just putting out the tenth of a second in consistency, and it must be frustrating for Sparks because he's putting a huge gap on other drivers. Brendan is now 9 seconds behind Sparks, in fact getting hassled by Matt 212, and you know, he's just doing what he needs to do to keep in contention as Blueberry looks to go for an overtake here. Can they get it done? I don't think it will happen this time around, but it's very close to happening. We'll have to see. They're looking very aggressive for the moment.
This is Aerotech in front, of course, winner last time out, looking to try and defend the honour, as it were, making the launch along the main straight and over towards turn number 1. Out on track, thoughts about it, slow it up, and you can't get much closer than that from Blueberry. The charge and charge of Blueberry continues with Alex Gillen watching on. Storm Molina's already found a way through up into that 6th place, unless we forget that battle of 3rd and 4th that is continuing on at the moment. So Blueberry, I think, finds stasis at the moment to say, I'm not going to get through immediately, but later on I might get a better chance of managing it. Matt 212 taking a big diamond in line. That's a slightly missed apex there from Brendan Hyperstar, and he's going to be vulnerable right up through the Schumacher S here and heading over towards the Xiaomi curve, where it might be a case of Matt 212 looking to set this one up for the Vito chicanery.
Yeah, twice during this race I've been pressing a inexistent brake pedal, trying to stop for the drivers. I think they're going in too deep, and then they make the apex. Incredible driving. Matt to the inside. Can he get it done? Not leaving the gap, really, is Brendan. So defending quite well. No double moves in there, but that will be so frustrating because Matt had a huge run right there, and this is definitely a pace advantage for Matt, and he needs to find a way past. It remains to be seen how much fuel they've got on board. Have they all fueled to go the full, or not the full race distance, but a fuel stint distance in this car of possibly about 20 to 25 laps. Maybe they can do that, but we'll have to wait and see, as Brendan's still defending. He's doing a good job of it, and Matt didn't get a great drive, but he's getting great drive out of turn 2. Can he get it done? Still no. Still hassling, putting on the pressure. Will Brendan crack under pressure? That's the question.
So that battle then continues on. Look how close Matt 212 is to the inside at turn 5. Brendan aggressive on the brakes because he had to let him take the corner. Big power move by Matt 212, who puts him, if you add 1 and 2, puts him 3rd.
Great maths from the commentary box. Better than my maths, so I'll give you that one, Jake. But yeah, definitely Matt hit huge confidence there to just go steaming up the inside and saying, this corner is mine. Nothing to say. Aerotech here just losing it again on the bumps, and that is off. Maybe a little bit of gravel on track there, but he's managed to recover it, get it out. And that is actually the Rallycross junction. They turn left uphill up there to do the Rallycross track. So going for a little bit of Rallycross is Aerotech, but not ideal in a Formula car, that's for sure. And he'll put them 2 positions back as well. So Aerotech's got the pace, but maybe not the consistency today.
Well, Aerotech struggling about a little bit with some frame drops at this stage, so is really having to go against it. Got about 25 frames a second right now, so needs a bit more to feel comfortable in where the car is being placed out there on track. So it's calm, at least for the moment. Door left open as Sparks jumps by Clio for a 2nd lap on Killer Clio at this point. So that certainly opens up the door of just how tough some of this racing has been over the course of the first 5th of this race here, heading to lap 12 here of 60 out there overall. The gap at the front, 7.6 seconds as it currently stands, and we get to see this quite a bit here, these large gaps that develop, and it's about making sure that strategy is in play. You might see that you got maybe a half a second here, half a second there, but that might be a light fuel tank. You don't know until the pit stop window is fully open.
Yeah, there's really no way of telling, and you've just got to keep pushing, keep putting in the laps. The tyres will start complaining in the end, and it's just one of those things. I just want to note as well for Killer Cleo that some wing damage on the front, which will not be helping either. But I'm guessing they don't want to come into the pits until there is some reason for slowing all the cars down. So, yeah, Tom97 there, really aggressive on the turn, and I don't think he's got the measure of it, and that is a car that has a return pits, I think. Something happened there. Not exactly sure. Maybe some sort of technical issue on their side. But yeah, Tom really just trying to get the car turned in, but it's not going his way at the moment. As I think Ancephalosis there might have had a little bit of a problem outside of the last turn, going unusually slow. But we'll have to wait and see. This is still Matt and Brendan line of stern.
Out the final corner, grabs the Astro and has a full snap, bounces against the Armco there, and avoiding that was Sparks, who was second overall in this race. So that gives you incentive at the moment. Keep in mind, Kamikaze is down in 16th place and still circulating a lap down. So for Sparks, it will really close up the championship gap, but it's not enough if you can't win it.
Yeah, no, he needs to get a move on and find something.
Blueberry.
I'm sure he has, and yeah, Blueberry, I think a little bit of a snap.
That's a
there.
drop.
Let's see what has happened to Blueberry. Maybe it's something that we can get.
Yeah, that's a drop.
Is it?
So Blueberry's dropped from the race. Nothing that you can do about those. That's the equivalent of an engine blow up.
Yeah, so unfortunate. I thought they might have had some sort of spin and briefly dropped off of the leaderboard, but sadly, yeah, that is the Toyota engine not lasting the full race in this one, sadly. Back in the day, engine blow-ups were actually still quite common, so I guess historical accuracy, question mark?
Safety car comes out. There is too much gravel on the circuit, apparently. So get your brooms out, ladies and gentlemen. We are in for a bit of a sweeping session.
Yeah, that announcement of the reason of the safety car was enough to cause me to cough right there. That's an inventive one by the Stewards Racing team here in Creator Series, but I'm sure there's quite a few people, including Sparks, that are very happy that safety car is coming out now, because I think they just need a little bit of a reprieve. But also in terms of strategy, it means that people can maybe do a little bit of a reset in terms of their thinking, or maybe adopt an idea that somebody else has. And let's see if all of our unsafety cars, we've got quite a few of them today. I'm thinking that they might have to do the sort of endurance thing where we have 3 different safety cars at different points around the track. It's that big a track, of course.
Well, they are waiting for the safety car to go in order to jump, and so there was words of Alex Gillen waiting behind the safety car. Whoever's waiting behind us, just go. We just get around us. We need to wait for it, and they can have their own little mini race in the FIA F4s, which are out there being the unsafety cars for this final round of the season. And so there will be a huge emphasis on how they go about things. Ryan L83 will pick up the safety car, or would have done, if it was not for the fact that he's just jumped in to the pits, and will be joined in tow there by Sparks.
Yeah, it's kind of logical. Lap 14, lap 15, you're probably halfway or more through your stint right now, so you come in and just get as much fuel on board as you can. Probably be a long stint, probably going to shift this race to perhaps a 2-stop, but we'll have to wait and see. But we have another race to commentate on, because I think the unsafety cars are going to go for it here.
Well, you got the unsafety Clio, the unsafety car 02, and Nick Pakin all there together out on track. So you got Nick in the number 100. You've got then the likes of the Unsafety Clio being run, or the Unsafety Car 01. Currently, that's being run by Scotty Designs, by the way, and then the Unsafety Car 02 being run by TK in the middle. So those three trying to work it together. That's a pretty big gap here by Scotty Designs. He is monstering away.
Yeah, I mean, they're absolutely flat out. Look at it. Just they're warming up the tyres because they need to take the next turns flat out. We nearly had an accident between unsafety cars here. This is glorious racing right now. We need to see some donuts before the end of the race, that's for sure, as that is Ancephalosis with wing damage trying to unlap themselves as well. So their race has not gone very well at the moment, but there's always chance for a recovery. We're less than a third of the way through the race, so everything is good on that front, and I think there's a lot of opportunities yet to come in the latter stages of the race.
They very much are. As they sit, Brendan Hyperstar elected not to come in at that safety car period and make his pit stop, which means that is a divergence in strategy. Neither, by the way, did Monkey Matt or Storm Molina dive in and make stops. And now that shakes the field up just a little bit more. Remember that those drivers who are over a lap down are going to have to now get themselves unlapped as they go forward. Now, with these three running 2 wide, 3 wide, as if this was a case of Top Gear and they get a point for every time that they make an overtake and they're trying to block the road, this is going to be tough for those looking to unlap themselves with a wave around.
Yes, not an ideal thing, but they're going to have to look in their mirrors and just use caution, I guess. I want to mention as well that Ryan is in a bit of a predicament here, having fueled up, I guess, in the pit stop. He's now surrounded by cars that haven't pitted, so they're lighter on fuel. So there's a chance that he might get swarmed at the restart, and Sparks might have an opportunity, as we have people racing. That's Blueberry and I think Kamikaze racing on... It's Killer Clio, sorry, the different livery there, just a different shade of yellow. And yeah, Blueberry definitely has the performance at the moment. But good to see them back in the race. Hopefully they can get the laps back, as we've got a flying formation. It's almost as if we are at a 24 hours endurance race right now. But, you know, across the line, this would be a photo finish, except we're only on lap 15.
Yeah, so they will have to move because of everything going on. We do have cars in, so Aerotech will jump into the pit. Along will come Punju in for a stop. Tom97 dives in along with Tiamat Marduk. So those four will go get their service sorted and get themselves back out and away with a free pit stop as they get themselves into play. But at this moment, I would look around and say that this is where calm is needed. It's still early on in this race, still a long way to go. You can't judge the way this race is going to turn out by the opening 15 minutes, but with the lighter cars around, Ryan L83 just can't afford to tiptoe and trip over everybody else at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very, very difficult because you want to go for the positions. You want to be back out in the lead, putting in the laps, and Ryan will have the pace. Sparks has the job of overtaking to try and catch Ryan, but, you know, down into turn one, if someone breaks early and catches you off guard, if you're heavier on fuel, you can't make that extra 5-meter braking zone, and you will just go into the back of the car in front of you. So it's very, very tricky, and it's what made the strategic era of F1 motorsports with the refueling a little bit different to watch, in that you had to just think of the long-term gain. I will always remember Michael Schumacher, I think it was 2003 or 2004, at Manicourt doing the 4-stop and just overtaking people in the pit stops by just going a qualifying lap after quali lap 1 second faster than everyone else and making it work that way. It's very much a team game, and I'm sure they will have done their calculations of to which strategy is fastest, but at the end of the day, holding people up is a valid strategy also.
It very much is, and so every time you go around and you can keep a driver bottled up in a race like this one, it will make life incredibly difficult to go and get successful as they work up the north way of the circuit now, as they go over towards the Schumacher S and the Xiaomi corner. Your F4 battle right now between the unsafety cars continues on their little journey and adventure with oh, bye-bye. There goes TK for a spin, and that one lighting up very late.
Yeah, TK not having fun on the brakes into turn 1 there, and I think overheating the tires for turn 2, trying to catch the other two. They're having a great ding-dong battle at the moment. They are really, the F4 cars are very good in terms of on-track battles because they've got good mechanical grip and low downforce, so you can really go side by side, and I think very well suited to a circuit like this. In Formula 1 you have a lot of downforce, so the cornering speeds are very high, so the opportunity to get an overtake is maybe 1 second less per corner, so it just closes up that possibility, whereas in an F4 you've got that large braking zone where you can do something.
You absolutely do. This, of course, has been a place of so many dramatic races in the mid-2000s of Formula 1 style racing, and we've got 3 fantastic elements to talk about. One was the one where Raikkonen lost his tyre on the last lap. 2 would be the scenario of Raikkonen having a massive lead and then seeing his engine go boom. And then 3 would be the fact, so we look at Punji right now, working his way through the final corner of an absolute deluge of rain coming down for a lesser-known Marcus Winkelhock to take a race lead.
I thought we were going to forget the last one there. The only driver to have 100% leading a lap ratio in his Formula 1 career. You know, you have to respect the hustle. And that was a genius strategy, to be fair, of just staying out on the rain tyres to take the restart. To, you know, sponsorship matters at the end of the day. And they genuinely thought and bet on the fact that the rain was going to get much worse once again. It didn't work out for them in the long run, but you had to respect the strategy. On a day where a lot of drivers crashed out of that race, including Lewis Hamilton, into turn 1. Just
Blueberry, upside down and in the barriers, and that has been a coming together with Killer Cleo, who locked it up, and the pair of them are upside down, and I believe Killer Cleo is on the barriers at the Goodyear Spangler.
Not ideal. Maybe we can get a camera on that, or indeed a replay for you in a minute. We weren't expecting that to happen, so there is the picture of Killer Cleo there with a missing rear wing. Not ideal for a Formula 1 car, but that has been some accident right there. And let's see if we can get that replay. So Blueberry approaching full speed. Oh, Killer Cleo, I think, trying to just pull off to allow Blueberry to go. I'm not quite sure what was happening there. They were taking the escape road, but that has not been a safety feature today. And Blueberry just has ended up a little bit like I think it was the Midlands, the last cars that have ended up on their roof. Or indeed, was it... oh, yeah, that has been a complete miscalculation. Incredible, yeah. Blueberry tried to avoid, and then Killer Cleo just turns in the exact same direction.
Not much you can do, and with both of them looking to jump up to the back of the group, they take the tow, and they are going to have to wait a very long time before this group comes back around, before they're allowed to go. Now, it will be a 2-wide restart here, which will be great news for the likes of Ryan L83 here, but you got Monkey Matt, who's being very, very aggressive in that second row, to the point where it looks like Ryan L83 is on the second row of this restart rather than the first.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. We'll have to wait and see how that pans out. But Monkey Matt has a decent turn of pace in these cars, and I think what we'll see is a lot of drivers getting used to the car and pushing more and more the limits as we go on, so the gaps should close up. That advantage that Ryan had at the start of the race was beginning to close up a little bit. Sparks wasn't getting dropped as much as before, and so we might see a little bit of a change in fortune. I think Ryan will be very keen to get this race underway again, just to be able to pull away and try and create a little bit of a safety net.
Got to pass first, though, with Brennan Hyperstar, who's been so good with the open formula this season and knew just how to defend it when it came to the Creator Series Indy 500 a couple of weeks ago. The weaving is about, and this is a case of getting temperature back into the Bridgestones and getting themselves ready on lap 18 here of 60. They'll have 43 laps of racing remaining. The pace car then, the BMW pace car, dives down right into the lane, and now it's about light it up and get ready. You don't want to overcook it on this restart and get yourself penalised, and it's so slow. Monkey Matt ends up bogging down because he lifts off right at the time there's a launch. We're 4 wide for third place as they run into turn number 1. This is going to be massive into the initial section, and they're going to tap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars are all around.
Oh, I think Sparks has been involved in that. Sparks has P15, just got swarmed by Matt 212 with a great start, and they were still 3 wide as far as I could tell into turn 1, and just got a little bit tapped. Matt turning in, he had the right to do so, but it meant that other cars had to take avoiding action, and that has put Tom, among other drivers, in a very good position. But we've got Sparks and Storm Molina, Kamikaze, I think, caught up in that one as well, so unfortunate for everyone involved.
Right, I'm going to say this right now. That was awful from Alex Gillen, who caused all of that.
Oh dear, we did not see that on the initial footage, so maybe we'll need to get a replay of that. But it certainly looks like, I think maybe it was Sparks got tagged from behind, but we'll have to take a look at that. Yeah, I presumed, of course, by Alex Gillen. But Lassen Lake Breakers, Alex hasn't been great on the brakes today, as that was a huge snap, I think, from Formula Kai was that, and nearly losing it. Let's see. So this is on board with Alex. So you can see it's going to be Matt getting a great start in front. We'll see. There you go. Matt goes for it and just gets a clean getaway. So that's Sparks going to the inside, I think. And liveried cars, they're very similar. So Alex just brakes way too late and then locks up. There's nothing he can do. Tags 3 different cars. I can't believe that. And gets away with it as far as I can see.
No, he's coming in, so I think he's actually picked up damage on the front wing. He has, so he's down in the pits. Tom 97 in the battle. Kamikaze, I think, with a bit of damage to the front wing as well. So as they go on, absolutely fantastic stuff. Oh, Monkey Matt going around. He'll tag the inside wall between 3 and 4. He'll have a long wait to get back out onto pace again.
Yeah, so unfortunate, losing it once again on low traction zones on the apex as well. That's not going to be ideal for cars, but he's got no choice. And yeah, what a way to throw away what was a top 3 there. Just pushing, trying to keep everyone in check. I mean, look, Brendan Hyperstar and Ryan L83 have checked out at the front here. Matt 212's doing all he can to keep with the rhythm. Tom 97 finding some pace as well in P4, but that battle is shared by Formula Kai and Aerotech, with a gap then to Tiamat Marduk, who's moving up the places as well, thanks to that incident.
And all those places will count. Tom 97 in 4th place, having started in 15th. Formula Kai started this one even further back than many, so that tells you all you need to know. This is what happened to Josh's corner down at the Goodyear hairpin. Overcooks it on entry, goes through the gravel, now has to find the grass, now needs to find a way back onto circuit again and tiptoes back on track. So gives you all you need to know about just how difficult these gaps are. Formula Kai struggling through the middle of the apex. That could bring Aerotech back to the party then, and it's going to be a case of a battle of 2 Canadians.
Hopefully not too much of that gravel made its way into the side pod for Josh's corner. That's a huge lock-up for Aerotech, not ideal. And then, in front of him, Formula Kai does a huge kick of oversteer. Formula Drift, more like. And that was a huge save. I think they will need a few corners to recompose themselves, both of these guys. But yeah, that just gives the advantage to Tom to try and pull away with a little bit of clean air. But this first sector takes no prisoners.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. And the whole point was it used to be just a right-left, which got yourself through. There goes Formula Kai, spinning around at the end of the Padgett Racing curve. It happens so often. He's got to be careful he doesn't beach himself then. He puts himself up against the wall. No, you need reverse, mate. Found it. And now looking to try and get that turnaround again. Really just deciding that he was going to make a nice aquarium down there with how much gravel he's kicked up. Got himself back going away again, but we were going to talk about the fact that this is such a tough section as Ancephalosis now losing the place. There goes Sparks.
Yeah, Sparks has got his pedal to the metal, as they say. He's really making up the positions he needs to be in the top 3 to have any chance at the championship. So it is game on now. He needs to have the pace. He has the pace. He needs to keep it consistent and hope that other people mess up. So I'm guessing for Formula Kai, it was a case of the tyres were overheated. Let's have a look. Just applies the throttle. Even before he got on the curb, he'd lost the car, and then it just compounds itself by the fact that the car bottoms out right now. So he's trying to turn, and then nothing happens because the front wheels are off the ground.
No, definitely not ideal. You can beat yourself around here. We've seen it many a time before, so you don't want to be on the wrong side of it as they go. Chase is going on a bit further down. This is in 14th here with Kamikaze and Alex Gillen at this point. Gillen on the hunt, on the brakes, down the inside. Kamikaze, some would say a champion in waiting. Look how aggressive that line is down through turn 1. You can tell the rally experience was there. He chucked it in.
He's acting as if he's got Dakar suspension or something like that. I think Kamikaze definitely will be feeling that through his wheel. You have to turn the force feedback up a little bit for open wheel cars, so I don't think he'll be doing that all race, but probably just trying to defend the inside. He knows Alex can brake very, very late, and so you've got to kind of keep that in mind when you're racing, and this will be an attempt up the inside. I know Alex too well. He will go for this. He will be last of the late breakers. Kamikaze brakes late, goes around the outside. There may be a little bit of contact, but Alex keeps the nose in, and Kamikaze going the long way around, potentially on that gravel that's on the outside. Couldn't do anything to defend. That is another place for Alex Gillen, but these guys have a lot of catching to do.
They do, as Punju right now finds himself in the midst of this 3-car battle. Sparks is now through, and just behind that is the recovering Monkey Matt, looking to try and work himself back through. The Kiwi versus the American versus the Brit. This is what we call international racing.
It is indeed. Interesting, you can see the braking difference between Punju, who's used to GT cars, and somebody that's more used to Formula cars. Punju going for quite a smooth braking, and the Sparks, for example, was just able to brake maybe 5-10 meters too, or later, not too late, but later, and use the aggressiveness of the brakes. So you have to adapt your driving style a little bit, and Monkey Matt definitely has the pace right now to overtake Punju, but where can he do it?
Where indeed, and speaking of some where indeeds at the moment, Ryan L83 now down 3 seconds on your overall race leader, so definitely having a little bit of a struggle street moment over the last lap or so. So for Ryan L83, he's really having to work, but Brendan Hyperstar, this mid-stint, he's good, he's golden.
Yeah, Ryan's made a mistake somewhere. It's showing on the delta time that he's multiple seconds down on his usual time. So that's been a snap of oversteer somewhere that he's had to save. But the good news for Ryan is he does have the pace. You can see there in the sectors, it's just been getting away a little bit. It could just be the fuel. I will be honest, probably Brendan is getting ready for a pit stop around this time. And Ryan's probably still has 2/3 a tank of fuel at this point. The gap is still visual though. It's only 3.7 seconds, so it's nothing too bad. And Matt 212 is doing a great job as well of keeping the pace. So probably we will see a pit stop around the same time between Brendan and Matt, and then the order will work itself out for the moment.
John, if you leave it too much longer, it's a one-stop.
Yes, true. You're going to be pushing it, probably, but it's also very slow to do a one-stop normally. The safety car has changed that quite a bit.
Oh, Kai.
Let's
having an absolute monstrous amount of damage. I think he's just collected another driver as he had himself a massive tank slapper and around, and he found himself in absolutely no man's land in comparison to Josh's corner. So you can see here, fighting left, right, no, now I'm on the grass, please come back, spinning it round, and then, whoop, that's Josh's corner.
Yeah, so unfortunate for Josh there. I mean, what can you do? And that's the rear wing gone for Formula Kai, and indeed the rear suspension. So that is looking more like an Indy car right now, to be fair. But so unfortunate, because Josh, I mean, is not looking in his peripheral vision right now. He's looking to the apex of the last turn. And so out of nowhere comes Formula Kai back onto the track. Maybe he will have had a brief glimpse. But that corner also is unsighted. So you come over the crest on the apex, and then you have to figure it out. So a totally blind corner for Josh there. And sadly, there was a car right where he's placing his.
Sparks then battling with Tiamat Marduk for position. This will be a 5th, 6th and 7th battle with Aerotech just in front. Monkey Matt behind that is through on Punju. So places then are being changed. A look then to Sparks at the moment. He's all happy and smiles on the brakes into the opening corner, and you can see there how aggressive he wants to be. Mr. Daly will have himself then in P6 after electing to start from the pit lane to keep himself out of troubles. That's a double take into the corner from Sparks, and Tiamat Marduk is everywhere on the road.
Oh, I thought he was going all the way round, hence my exclamation there. It didn't look like a savable one, but that car is not handling well. You could see, amidst all of the smiles, the commitment through the corners there from Sparks, just focusing, concentrating. He has to get this move done. He's going to go to the inside. He's going to late brake. Tiamat Marduk's going to turn in. You can't have that one. You're not alongside. But will he be able to keep this up? The two of them, very well versed in open wheel cars. They can keep this pace up for days, but can they do it when the pressure is on? For Sparks, there's a championship on the line, and I think Tiamat Marduk knows that. He will shut the door, and he will say, you can't afford it, but I can afford the damage.
Well, here comes the chance. Can you find the move that's done? Tiamat Marduk sees Sparks now to the inside, but Sparks backs out of it. I would argue the old Tony Pulis line out there at this moment. John, I don't think he can do it on a cold, rainy night in Stoke.
And that is an elite tier reference right there. 10 out of 10. I think Sparks being very, very cautious in the braking zones. I don't think he has the confidence to go for it, but that just means that every single lap, look at how late he can brake. He can go up the inside, surely, and just get the move done, or just say, I'm there on the inside. You can't just turn in, but it requires just committing, because every lap that you spend behind another car, as Marduk just locks up and goes, you know what, up the inside, and collision between the two. You can't believe it, can you? Sparks nearly losing it over the grass as well. I think Sparks thought he had the job done, and Tiamat Marduk found traction out of nowhere to get the car again onto the apex.
Well, you can see Tiamat Marduk wasn't going to give that up, and Sparks thought that he did everything right, that he commanded the corner as Josh's corner jumps into the pit. That there is a case of Tiamat Marduk still being entitled to that space, and Sparks is still trying to find a way back around. Now up the Schumacher S to try and move on into this 6th place. This is the hardest fought 6th place I think we've seen in a long, long time. And for the moment, Sparks can look and look and look, and he's hoping for a bit of flint to start a fire. He'll now get the run. He'll move right up underneath. A great look at that double diffuser down there, and now have to go the long way around against Tiamat Marduk. Fights for an inch of room, and then Ben just puts the arm out and says, no, you wait for me.
It's funny how the F1 rulebook has changed quite a bit since these cars were racing around the track, because in this race, in the 2009 season, Mark Webber got a drive-through penalty just for making contact with, I think it was Rubens Barrichello into turn 1, and that just a little bit of tap into turn 1. Nothing bad happened because of it, but that was a drive-through penalty. So the rules here in the Creator Series are not that harsh, although we might give a penalty still for Ryan. We're not quite sure at this point. But, you know, they want to go racing for it. They want to just be aggressive, and we love to see those moves right there, as long as nobody gets damaged. But, yeah, Sparks still having to attack. And there is Monkey Matt as well, just saying, hi, I want in on this action. And I think Sparks might have a double problem in a minute.
Yeah, and that problem is, if I'm taking too long to get by one driver, how am I going to get the other? Thinks about it, but that diamonded exit off of the Goodyear hairpin works once again. That Goodyear hairpin, actually a very interesting callback. Of course, there is the Sudstrecker, as it was known, or the Sudschleifer, as part of what the old Nürburgring complex used to be, that they had to knockabout and rechange, but that corner down at the bottom can be considered a throwback to the carousel, which is on the Nordschleife, as here comes Monkey Matt just having to lift out of it.
Yeah, for quite a few years before the F1 track was used, they cut out bits of the Südschleife and they just went around a hairpin that was in that vicinity at the time. And so the new F1 track tried to keep that emphasis on having that long sweeping corner toward the bottom end of the track. But the Südschleife was a very... Oh, on the inside! Incredible, committed. Can he get it stopped? Yes, he can. And that... Timo Mardik collects a back marker there. I'm not exactly sure. Was it Josh?
That was Aerotech who can't drive it anymore.
Oh, that's so unfortunate for Aerotech. Possibly just technical issues there. But that gave all the opportunity that Sparks needed up the inside. And now Timo Mardik is getting attacked by Monkey Matt.
Yep, so now it's Monkey Matt's turn to enter the jungle, as it were, at this stage. On the brakes, down through the Padgett Racing curve, and believe it or not, we're still not quite halfway at this point. Can there be enough drive to get this move sorted? They're going to go side by side, but ultimately it's enough for Tiamat Mardik to hold, and luckily for Ben, hasn't picked up any damage on the front wing, so Monkey Matt can only sit behind and figure out, right, what can I do? If there's a bit of slipstream for Tiamat Mardik from Sparks, I'm going to use that as a way to break away and make sure I'm not going to be attacked here out of Bilstein, through the Falkenbogen and up to the Wiedel chicanery. But look at the run again.
Yeah, thankfully no DRS on this one, but Monkey Matt doesn't need it. He's going to go all the way around the outside, which becomes the inside for the chicane. But can he brake late enough? Once again, Monkey Matt cannot find that sweet spot in terms of the braking. Maybe just a little bit too little on the brake pressure, and Ben has gained another couple of car lengths there and is through back into P6. Ooh. So that late braking is really paying dividends.
Formula Kai has exited the race with one of the most dramatic crashes.
Let's see if we can get a replay on that then, because I'm intrigued now, so let's have a look. This is into, I think that's turn 11. Let's see. Oh, yeah, it's just gone flat out and then applied the throttle. That's not ideal, and that is not how the front end of a Formula 1 car is meant to look like.
No. And that's why he is out of the race, as it's still a game of Monkey Matt versus Tiamat Mardik. Trying to switch him up! Into the gravel goes Monkey Matt, and now we'll lose the place to Storm Molina. We'll lose the place to Alex Gillen. Gives a show for everybody down there, and ultimately we'll try and drag 1,000 tons of gravel back onto track.
He was shoved off. I am sorry. From our point of view, it might be wrong, but that just looked like a swipe from Tiamat Mardik. So he's gone. Tiamat Mardik has gone off the road. He has the inside, so he's probably going to run it deep into here. Monkey Matt's going to try and do the switchback. Then Tiamat Mardik just... Oh, I think it was just a case of having a little bit of a snap, and the two cars maybe just got a little bit tangled up, or maybe Monkey Matt even just didn't want to turn in, got on the gravel that was already on the track, and there was just no grip.
Storm Molina's turn now to take on Tiamat Mardik. He can't seem to get rid of anyone at this stage. Every time that there's a battle that comes to a conclusion, someone else turns up and goes, my turn!
There's never a calm moment for Tiamat Mardik, is there? But he'll not have the confidence in the world at the moment. And along comes Alex Gillen at the same time. Why is it always these two, Jake?
Yeah, it's a tale as old as time. It's like Romeo and Juliet, you know. It's a case of finding two star-crossed drivers who will look to try and battle each other for their lives.
Yes, I predict this probably won't end well, because Alex Gillen is on a comeback rampage and Tiamat Mardik has just lost a bunch of positions, and this could be another battle. Monkey Matt just trying to make up positions up the inside. Oh, Punju defends well around the outside. That's Kamikaze as well, looking to get in on the action. Monkey Matt goes wide again in that same turn, trying to maybe just see if there was grip there. There isn't, and that's Kamikaze up the inside, who's going to break latest. Kamikaze does get it stopped, gets to the apex, and unfortunately Monkey Matt has lost another position.
Now, here's something I just want to point out. If we do get another safety car out here, we are at threat of finishing at time. We've done 30 laps in 51 minutes and a half, as now over to the outside. Look at Storm Molina go, trying to pivot and get that sorted. Long way around. It will not be for Tiamat Marduk, because look at this drive off the exit. Storm Molina fights for the Hyundai N-Curve, gets the drive off the exit. They're all together off the road. Is Killer Cleo. They're going to work their way through, but Ben's not giving this one up. Alex Gillen's got eyes on this now as they battle it out in towards turn number 1. On the brakes they go. It's going to be close, but now watch out. Gillen's going to get a drive as well. Too wide off the exit. Gillen nowhere to go. Round the outside goes Tiamat Marduk. Now you got to do it again. Storm Molina can't close the deal, and the art of it goes finally to Storm Molina. Now here comes Gillen.
Yeah, this is not going to be an easy pass for Alex. Tiamat Marduk will slam the door shut and has done. Just got enough drive, but he's going so aggressive over the curbs. He's unsettling the car, and that is leaving Alex to have a huge drive up the inside. This is probably going to be a win it or bin it for Tiamat Marduk. He needs to steam around the outside. He will do, and Alex recognized that was going to happen. Huge late braking. They're still side by side, though. They will go probably side by side. No, look at the traction there from Tiamat Marduk. Oh, and he's lost it straight away. They've made contact. I can't quite believe it. They had all the opportunity to make that clean, and somehow Tiamat Marduk has lost it on the curb through the Schumacher S, and like a good story in time, it's happened again. Safety car deployed.
And now we really do hit the risk of going to time out there in this one. So 60 laps might not find full completion here at just over the halfway stage of this race. What a moment there. And of course there would have to be a safety car for Tiamat Marduk and for Alex Gillen coming together. I mean, you know, you get a singularity at points between them.
I was so emotional during that point of commentary that I was convinced they'd finally made an overtake where they didn't collide, but it just wasn't happening there. It's so unfortunate because Tiamat Marduk had done such a great defense, right? And he'd just gone a bit shallow into the Schumacher S, so he had to take a little bit of the curb, unsettled the car because the suspension's so stiff, tried to keep the throttle because he knows Alex Gillen is behind, and will probably attempt an overtake into turn 11, and just lost it, and then there's no distance between the cars to even react. And let's see if we can get a replay then. So this was much earlier. This is when that is Storm Molina going up the inside there, I think. So Tiamat Marduk goes for the defense here, past Killer Cleo, there it was. And so this is where Alex is going to initially attempt to go up the inside. It was a great opportunistic spot there from Alex. If I can do the switchback, I can get it done. And they both run wide, but Alex just has to jam on the brakes because he recognizes that he can't get it turned in. And so then it's all from here as Tiamat Marduk is just trying to defend around the outside. It doesn't happen. That lockup sets up the next chain of events where Alex has the overlap, has the traction, and will get nearly alongside. But again, Ben is just braking so hard, and then over the curb. That's the first incident on the curb, and that runs wide. So that's your indication the car does not like the curbs. Alex goes up the inside, gets great drive, but Ben on the brakes here, supreme round the outside, possibly picking up a little bit of gravel on the tyres. Can't really see much there from that perspective, but here, Ben goes shallow to the inside and takes the racing line, but the car's a little bit unsettled on the curb. It snaps, and Alex keeps the pedal to the metal, hoping that Ben will get out of the way in time, and it is not the case.
No, Ben Daly caught over the middle of the curb, straight across the middle of the circuit, and then your best Lewis Hamilton impersonation from 2007 there for the likes of Alex Gillen, who will be cursing the fact that he got involved in that and would have to use one of his 4 fast repairs to get himself back into play. Welcome back to the racetrack then for the likes of Nick Pakin, for TK, and of course for Scotty Designs, by the way, who are all there at the front leading ahead of the safety car, as they will like to do over the course of their running. You've got Brendan Hyperstein in control, Ryan L83 in second, Matt 212 now in third, Tom 97 up to fourth, and Sparks had made that work to fifth. But here's the issue with Sparks. While he made his way to fifth, very quietly, you've now got Kamikaze in seventh.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that Brendan Hyperstar and Matt haven't pitted. But yeah, I mean, Kamikaze has just been quietly making up the positions as we were talking about. He was just behind Monkey Matt and Punju, and in all of that, he's managed to make the overtake on Punju as well. So that's another couple of positions gains there. You can see him just coming into picture there. So it's going to be one of those things where Sparks needs to get somehow up into the race lead, and where Kamikaze needs to make some contact.
Ben needs help with a tear-off. He doesn't know what the tear-off button is.
That's not ideal, I will admit. There's a lot of gravel and other types of dust that can become stuck to the visor. So, you know, in these conditions, you want to be able to see where you're going, and especially if you're battling with a certain Alex Gillen. So, yeah, there's a lot of reasons why you need that tear-off button right there, and it's nice one, producer. Very nice. I hope nobody tries that combo, but if you want to, go ahead. You'll soon find out what it does.
Oh dear, the oldest trick in the book of internet, right there in front of your very eyes. As now we get decisions on who pits and who doesn't, and it's a split call. So in comes Brendan Hyperstar, Rhino 83, Spark, Storm Molina, Punju, Monkey Matt dives into the pits as well, and a handful stay out. So it is now Matt 212 in control, Tom 97 in second, and Kamikaze up to third.
That's an incredible switch around of results. Matt staying out a huge amount of time. He's done 30. I don't think he's stopped this this race yet. It says one pit stop, so he has stopped at some point. But probably before the safety car, actually. Maybe some contacts that we didn't see. But that's everybody with at least one pit stop now on the board. Just want to say, our producer going all the way back to 2009 with that joke. So hats off for the historical accuracy right there. So let's see where everybody gets into position here. It'll be interesting to see if everybody's fueled up to reach the ends now, or if anyone wants to try and attempt the singular stop once again.
We're going to take this time to jump on with Kamikaze, who's joined us right now. And, well, Kamikaze, it's a case of you got a little bit of calm at this moment in time, but how difficult has this this Williams Toyota FW31 been for you?
I missed some names on this car. It should be an Yaris and a WRC, so it should be good. But the car, for me, is a handful. You can see that on stream. So, yeah. So, but we have fuel to the end, and we have 6 laps all tires, so it should be good.
So what you're saying is it needs 4-wheel drive and some gravel spec tires, and then you're good.
Yes, and a little bit more rear wing as well, because the Yaris has a big one.
I mean, we're not a million miles away from the area where the German rally came into play. Do you think you need to find a couple Hinkelsteins?
Yes, and don't hit some gravel traps, because, wow, I got very wibbly-wobbly up the Schumacher SS. And took with me Punju, and we screwed it up, though. This will be interesting, the last 40 minutes of the race. Hope for some more safety car, but some fast guys from behind as well, so will be fun.
So a question for our WRC fans out there: what's the most difficult to drive, this car or the BMW M1 Pro car?
This one for sure.
And in what way?
This one is so snappy. When you first lose it, you have no chance to catch it. The M1 is fun to slide. So yeah, we can do that in your favorite location, Mediterranean, for example. You should be good.
Oh god, the cliffs of Corsica.
Well, finally, from me here, Kamikaze, it's a case of you're in position right now. You're in third. You're getting ready for this final run to go forward. Look at that, yeah. Give her a big pump up and say, yeah, this is exactly where I want to be. How critical has this season been for you, trying to put this all together and put yourself in this championship place?
It's been important for everything. First of all, I'm not as fast as everyone wanted me to be. I have only 2 wins this season, but okay, we have showed up to every race, and we had some fun every race. and I think that's the whole plan for this series as well. Gonna show up every race and have some fun. And yeah, I make a lot of friends even in iRacing.
So friendship there, the key that's there. We'll leave you on to get yourself the tyres in spec for you. Kamikaze there joining us and putting on a very good showcase at the moment to get back into third position. He's good to go to the end. I reckon we're going to be on time to the end of this race right now as we're running around with the safety car, because we've only allotted an hour and 40 minutes here, John, to put this race together, and we're over an hour in. And so you're looking at the clock, and I'm looking at it thinking, this is going to be a little bit tasty towards the end. And this track's only going to get colder. In sim time, we're ticking on 5 o'clock.
Yeah, it's getting to sundown, as they used to say back in the Formula 1 days. There used to be so many talks, especially in, if I remember correctly, in Malaysia. It always was a topic of discussion whether there would be a sunset event before the end of the race. But yeah, it's one of those things.
John, can I correct you on that? It was always raining in Malaysia, so you never see a sunset.
Very good point. Yes, especially in 2009, that's for sure as well. That was, if I remember correctly, they did half points on that race as well. So yes, a very, very good point to bring up there, Jake.
Well, I'll also bring up this point as well in 2009. If that race did, for some reason, get started, Jenson Button wouldn't have finished that race because as he pulled his steering wheel out, he had what is known as a steering wheel column full of water.
Yeah, not ideal to drive a Formula 1 car, would you believe? But that is sometimes that's just how the championship works out. You have to have a little bit of luck. I want to say also for Kamikaze, it's not been luck, it's been pure consistency, as the unsafety cars are having a fun old game at the back. They're not exactly sure what their intentions are. Safety cars, last time I checked, are meant to be at the front, guys.
No, I think they've gone so far in front and everyone's been stuck behind that they've worked themselves back into place. So well done from those three. You've lapped the field and you got yourself all together. So they've done very well. Now here's something that I'm looking at now. We've got drivers a little bit out of position. I'm interested to see the pace of Matt 212 and Tom 97.
Well, at the moment they're getting gapped by Formula 4 cars. So on pure pace alone, I don't think so somehow. Because I think Killer Cleo's had some problems as well right there.
Yeah, so it's going to decide to just run a lap down behind everyone rather than trying to scamper and gain the lap back, as it were. So that's the choice there, or maybe even Killer Cleo has just got the lap and now has to slow and get back into position with everybody else. This is a two-wide restart as they look to line themselves up. So you look around, Alex Gillen there in fifth. You got Punju in the mix. Brendan Hyperstar will look to charge on up. And remember, Sparks is championship hunting and has got to run through as many as he possibly can in the late stages of racing that we've got. We know that we're ticking down with 37 minutes. It's 37 minutes or 25 laps, whichever will come along first, and it's about 3 minutes 40 for a pace lap that they do. Pace car dives down into the pit, and so now it's control with Matt 212. Is this going to be how you want your season to end on a charge? He holds everybody and now launches it. Green back in the air, and look at that jump. Kamikaze now looking for second.
Huge miscalculation from Tom 97. He was so far alongside he had to back out, and that's Kamikaze up the inside, and Alex nearly going for it. Punju having to back out of it massively. Ryan up the inside. Has he gained a position? Yes, he has. He might be able to go all the way around the outside of Murdoch. Oh, that's Timo Murdoch all the way round. And no, it's Matt 212 that's gone round instead. And
from the race lead, he's tagged Sparks off the road. So Tim Murdoch's running to Sparks. Matt 212 spins from the race lead out of control. And Kamikaze, well, it's prophetic, isn't it? It's the story of his season. Everyone spins around him and he goes, oh, well, now I'm leading.
And Alex Gillen is up into P2, everybody, as well, somehow in that. Ryan, P3 as well, challenged by Tom. Alex Gillen looking to go for it as well. Tom was briefly up the inside as well on Ryan. So all of the battles happening right now. But I was about to say, I'd be loving to see Tom 97 versus Matt 212. It lasted all of one corner there. And that concertina effect that happened because Tom got a poor restart. Once again, a bit like Sparks and Matt 212 had. it just made it so that there were so many cars in just that vicinity that somebody was bound to make contact. Alex is gaining fast. Will he go up the inside? He'll probably dummy it to the inside, but not go. Kamikaze has a bit more experience than that to know that he won't go for it. But in terms of pace, I must say it's disadvantage to Kamikaze right now. Look at the apex speed that Alex Gillen is able to take in that car. But Ryan is another step ahead in terms of pace. So this is going to be a bit like Monaco 2011, with the leading car being the worst on pace.
Yeah, and it's all about hold at the moment with Gillen there, Ryan L83 doing it for all the Argentine Formula 1 drivers that have ever driven in Formula 1. He couldn't even say Franco Colapinto, bless him, out there at this stage. So now as they chase on, you got Tom 97, you got Punju in 5th, and then Storm Molina, Brendan Hyperstar, and Monkey Matt 6th, 7th and 8th. So all sorts of amazing battles going about at the moment, down through the Padgett Racing curve and off the exit again.
I must admit, Alex was a little bit closer last lap, so maybe the dirty air coming into effect, the tire scrubbing a little bit, but on the brakes, you can see Alex is just so much more confident, as probably Kamikaze just using a little bit of the either GT card or WRC car braking technique, going in a little less deep, trying to not get that weight transfer going too much. But on a Formula 1 car, you want the weight transfer, you want to be aggressive and to get the car turned in. And that just means that Alex, if he wasn't in dirty air right now, he'd be going off into the distance. But realistically, all Kamikaze has to do is hold up the pack, or indeed, he can afford to lose positions and win this championship. But I'm sure that given the opportunity, he will want to win this race as well. As I've just seen Tim McMurdoch in the pits as well, presumably repairing that damage. He will go a lap down.
Yeah, so you get the sense that, well, you want to make it happen. You want to win 3 times in the season at least to show that you had some dominance out there and that you weren't just there winning because everyone else wasn't out there at that point. But we'll take another look. So this is how Sparks found himself in the trouble to begin with. So he's in the middle of the pack. There's Matt 212, and then, I'll just decide to get out of the way instead of holding my brakes. Yeah,
it's unfortunate. Yeah, it's very, very bad when you're stopped or spun around on track. It's kind of less in Formula 1, I guess, actually. But yeah, in other forms of racing, it's a big, big no-no to not hold the brakes. And unfortunately for Sparks, he couldn't really turn enough on time to get out of the way. So you can see there, Tom just getting a poor restart, which gives everybody but Kamikaze a disadvantage. And look at everyone in the braking zone. Punju brakes really late, Alex brakes early, and that just exaggerates the concertina effect. And then Matt, just trying to get away, goes on throttle, spins all the way around, and I think on the rejoin there, so it was it Tim McMurdoch then? The collision must have happened between Tim McMurdoch and Sparks there. So it was Tim McMurdoch not holding their brakes.
Yeah. So that is the big scenario we got out there. I reckon we're going to go to time right now. We got 30-ish minutes to do what will be 23 championship laps around at this point. And look at Gillen really attack now, trying to get off of the exit here. He really wants this pass on Kamikaze. He wants to say, I'm the best when it comes to Formula. Here comes Gillen searching for the inside. It's not going to be there. And the pair of them might be thinking, well, if we can drop Ryan L83, we won't have to hear the cavalcade of Argentine drivers at the end of the race. So for the moment, Gillen chucks one back at turn 3. Kamikaze leaves the door open. Gillen now looks to try and attack off the exit of 4, exiting the arena, heading to turn 5. He'll have a look now to the inside, but Kamikaze opens the steering up and says, no, that's still mine.
Yeah, Alex had to get over the curb there and just couldn't find any traction or turn in. He'll have to wait until the hairpin. Can he do it? Kamikaze has to go defensive on the inside, which isn't great. He'll have to run it in deep. Can Alex get up the inside? No. It's a banked turn, so you will have more grip. There's not a possibility unless you're well ahead on the inside. And that means to the Schumacher S, you can't really carry full throttle as the chasing car. Alex just looking, trying to destabilize Kamikaze. Really, I think just trying to look to force him into an unforced error. And Alex nearly losing the car in sympathy there. That will be another couple of car lengths he has to gain. But I think Ryan as well has just sat back thinking, you know what, I just have to watch these two and wait for them to collide. It's looking that way for the moment, and if Alex does get a run, then perhaps I can too.
John, I'd just like to point out, forcing someone into an unforced error is the very definition of a forced error.
English, yes. Not my first language, apparently. But, yeah. Well, forced error is when you put your car up the inside and force them to go onto the grass, I guess. There's a very thin line between the definitions. But, yes, I get your point, Jake.
Here comes Brendan to the outside of Storm Molina, who just completely throws it down the inside, and now is going to hold around the outside of turn 2 through the arena. Monkey Matt watches on, and at the moment it's a case of he's trying to work out if he's got a thought between his brain and his tail, and he can't quite work out a way through. Storm Molina not great off of 4. Here comes Brendan Hyperstar again to the outside, trying to get this move. Inside line now for the Padgett Racing curve. Very aggressive on the brakes and holding the outside line. This is brilliant stuff between the duo, and for Brendan Hyperstar and Storm Molina, it's now going to be all about this Goodyear hairpin, which finally is Brendan's.
So if anybody had forgotten what lighter and more nimble cars racing together looked like, this is what it could be like, and what a race that is. Just defending, aggressive, attacking, and just having to make sure that you think of every single possible strategy that the car either in front or behind is going to use, and eventually you won't be able to think of everything. You will either get passed or overtaken depending on the situation. Alex Gillen, though, cannot find any of those winning strategies. That might be the little thing, though, that breaks Kamikaze there, a little snap of the traction, and that means Alex Gillen will have a huge run into turn 1. Kamikaze goes defensive. It won't be a turn 1 overtake for Alex unless he can get it aggressively over the curb. Can't really find the traction there around the outside. Once again, it hasn't worked for the past 2 laps, but can he go down the inside here? No, Kamikaze defends, wise to do that, but all
John,
the while Ryan is looking.
They've got lap traffic in front, and it's Tiamat Marduk.
This might be interesting. We'll have to wait and see. I'm just saying for everybody at home, maybe get some popcorn ready for the next couple of laps.
Ryan L83 watches on in 3rd position, knowing that he is very calm at this moment in time. He's just got to time this one correctly. He can't afford to time it to laps because we are going to finish on time. At this point, we are down now on lap 40 of 60. There is no way we're going to get this one finished in the lap needed. We're reckoning about 15 laps. I reckon is about as much as we're going to be getting, 16 if that, heading towards the end of this race. So it's going to be very, very close as they run to the line. Gillen, looking, which way do you want to go? Gillen just completely finds himself stuck in no man's land, and he will say, what is Kamikaze doing? The answer is taking a natural racing line.
Whoa, the last second, well, millisecond at that point, decision making to avoid contacts there. Yeah, I'm not sure how they're still both in the race, but that will mean that maybe Alex is a little bit more tentative to do the overtakes. I'm not sure about that one, probably 50-50 in terms of the arguments that could be had about that, but Alex has a great run here. He's all over the rear wing of Kamikaze, but once again, that traction that Kamikaze finds, all of that WRC experience, it means that he is just able to keep the car a little bit more stable, and still Ryan remains in P3, just, I think, thinking about when these guys, not if, but when these guys are going to make contact.
You can see there on the top left that we're down to 24 minutes worth of racing to go, and your top 3 are all trying to figure it out, unless we forget the quiet Tom 97, who is sitting there with Punju a second back, going, you know what, you lot have a big battle, take each other out the picture, I'd love to pick up the result.
Tell you what, compared to the start of the race, I thought Kamikaze was braking a little bit too early there, and it was. Alex thought about it, but just couldn't find the line. Tom 97, compared to the start of the race, has had a serious upturn of pace at the moment. He's not managing to keep track with Ryan at the moment, but it hasn't dropped a massive amount of seconds. You can see the gap there, 2 seconds at the moment. So the ultimate pace isn't there, the consistency is now. And if any one of these drivers comes to blows or gets any type of damage, then it will be a provisional podium for Tom 97, although Punju is right there with him as well. Alex has got the run here around the outside. Surely this is the best attempt at an overtake. He will be able to do the overlap. Kamikaze will have to go defensive.
No,
Kamikaze run! He just bounced and had no traction. There was no tire touching the ground. Kamikaze around. That's Tom 97 through. That's Punju through. That's Ryan through. That's Kamikaze down to P5. Ironically, championship still safe.
Kamikaze knows that with Sparks back in 14, that goes the victory. But now it's up to Ryan L83 for the pride of Argentina to go and battle Alex Gillen for the race win. It's so easily done. He just kept himself far too narrow into the opening corner, and I talked about it, top of show. Very narrow, very much like Malaysia Turn 2. The track drops away. Look at that. It's just as the tyres hit their contact patches again, round you go because you get an influx of grip.
It's just still bouncing. Yeah, there's nothing he could do about that. Well, there was a lot he could do about that, just take a wider line, but Alex was turning in. You know, Alex forced the... Well, I'll do it again. Forced the unforced error on Kamikaze. He just said, well, oh, that's Punju on the gravel, and all the way nearly swapped it around into the barrier there. But that is the way to force a driver into a mistake, is to just leave them in a situation where they can't do anything about it, and around they go.
Well, that shows you just how tough this all is, and look at this scrap that continues on. Storm Molina versus Monkey Matt out there, and really trying to wake up, smell the coffee, say, this is where I want to go and make this race happen. I know how critical every single lap is going to be, trying to find these moves, trying to get this placement. That is sorted. But right now, as they jam once again, Molina holds the line, and Monkey Matt is just jabbing at the moment, trying to prise open with a wooden stick to say, you know what, this is where it's going to go wrong. This is where it's going to go wrong. I can find a way through here. I can try here. And ultimately, Storm Molina's having absolutely none of it.
Yeah, for sure. Just defending the places. You don't need to defend every corner. You just need the inside, for example, for this corner. So you can keep the inside for the hairpin or keep a defensive posture. And you just need to make sure that you get the traction on exit. So, for example, you can't do a late braking move. And that is what Storm Molina is excelling in right now. Just keeping calm with the pressure. Keeping the car all over the curbs. That is pretty perfect through the Schumacher S there, gaining a car length just in that alone. This is Alex Gillen. Is that Alex Gillen? No, it's on Team at Marduk, that is. Alex has caught Team at Marduk, and ironically, the battle will not happen again, as that is safety car deployed for too much debris on track.
Are you sure? John, I think that was a safety car deployed preventively to stop Alex and Tiamat Marduk taking each other out again.
Yeah, yes, no, I agree with that fact right there. That's a fact. That's not opinion. That is definitely what happened right there. Best explanation, 10 out of 10.
So, with less than 20 minutes left on the clock, and straight through the likes of TK goes the safety car. As they look to work themselves back into line, we have got a little bit of an understanding of formation of what these drivers are doing in the FIA F4s. So the first laps, they follow the safety car, then they go 3 wide for a race until they catch the pack.
Indeed, so this is the flying formation of F4s. We haven't had any contact yet between them. We've had a spin out from TK, but apart from that, they've been well behaved, has the support category, it must be said. But yeah, it's lovely to see drivers having fun with all parts of the experience of Creator Series. And,
Just hearing word that Ryan L83 hasn't got the same pace as he did at the start of the race because he's got some damage on the underfloor that his pit crew just cannot seem to get to.
Oh dear, yeah, the classic case of just scraping the bottom. We've been talking how high the curbs are. We've been talking about how many bumps there are on the track. If you get a little bit unlucky, you can get damage, and that is not easily repairable. And I don't think even with a pit stop, as you've said, that they can do anything about it.
So, Ryan L83 knows how critical that this is, that he is wounded, and Alex Gillen is quite happy with where he is. Tom 97 is third, Punju fourth, and Kamikaze then in 5th. The Charger, Brendan Hyperstar, is up to 6th. You got the likes then of Blueberry down in 11th with Matt 2-on-2 now down in 12th. So Blueberry up to 10th at this point. So there's a lot of change going through. I think now, seeing as we are, 18 minutes away from the end of this race, I think now's just about as good enough a time here, John, to start talking about Season 2.
Yes, well, would you believe there might be a bit of F4 shadowing going on with the unsafety cars. So if you want to have a brief glimpse about what our drivers might be doing, there might be a little tiny hint. Not sure if you guys can work it out, but a tiny hint on screen right now. Right, Jake?
Yeah, well, I'm just going to blow the hint right out of the water and say it is going to be F4s next season that will go through. We'll be back into racing action October 23rd when we start things off at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. We'll be racing up to December 11th with 1 week of a break in November 27th where there'll be no racing, and then in November 6th when we'll have a special IndyCar event which will be coming up. That'll be great. 20 driver grid. There will be no qualifying, as it will always be reverse championship order that gets it done. And it is going to be an absolute treat that you want to jump in and see when we're back with you with the Creator Series and with iRacing. So some wonderful action coming about, and now the race is on with the unsafety cars with the F4. Scotty Designs ahead of TK, ahead of Nick Pakin as they work
TK
themselves
hasn't made
through.
turn one.
Ooh, what a lunge!
Again, I was going to say that's the will TK make turn 1, and it has not turned out to be
Never.
true once again. I think TK is just locking the brakes, the front brakes, leaving a huge 11Zs, but the wrong kind of 11Zs at turn 1 there, and that is unfortunate. But the other two unsafety cars going at it, just nice move around the outside there. And the reason why we've chosen these cars is, as I was saying before, low downforce, just enough to keep the racing very fast in the corners, for lack of a better term. But mechanical grip means that you can go side by side, as they are perfectly demonstrating right now, and it means that a lot of drivers can push the cars to the limit without being too scared of it, and so we get clean, well, hopefully clean, but definitely close racing, more importantly.
The style of the FIA F4s, if you are with us on iRacing, October is going to be a fantastic month as the start of the FIA F4 Esports Championship is going to be taking its hold. So if you love F4 style racing, you're going to get it in spades in terms of what you've got coming on up. But the chase is still very much on. Some wonderful side-by-side battling here as they work around, and Scotty Designs loses out. Nick Pakin takes the move and gets it done in the black and yellow. Look out, here comes an accident car.
Gets it done with wing damage as well. I mean, incredible pace right now. You know, they're gapping F1 cars, and yeah, it's just... Oh, well, I say that, and both of them miss, I think, the chicane there that we just saw.
What are chicanes if not to be jumped over the top of?
Yes, I can remember many a racing game in the past where I definitely straight lines that chicane. It has a big bump, and that means you can get airborne, which may or may not be very, very fun as long as you don't have a direct drive wheel. Yeah.
And of course, always very difficult. This, of course, it is remiss of me to talk about it. We are in Formula Machinery right now at this point here, John, to say that as the safety car will be in on this lap because the lights are off on top of it, this has been a great place for sim racers, and two sim racers called Chris Lullum and Max Verstappen. Don't know if you've heard of him.
Oh, briefly. Isn't that guy that signed up under false paperwork for Formula 1 under the name Max Verstappen? Yeah, I think that's the story, right?
Yeah, well, they did very well here, of course, in the NLS series on round 9 of the Nürburgring series, picking up victory in their category and doing a wonderful job of that. But now it is about these drivers. They are down to just 13.5 minutes left of racing. That will constitute about 10 more laps to go. It's all under control for Alex Gillen. He's in the perfect position. He's just got to hope that he doesn't have any disasters to deal with going into the opening couple of corners. It is time of all times to stand up and say this is what it is all about. Pace car pulls off then into the pits. Alex Gillen will now have the control of the field. Ryan L83 sits back and says, there's the launch, and he's completely been sold on it. What a restart by Alex Gillen. Tom 97 pulls to the inside and looks to take that second away. There goes the switch back into turn 1, and it is Ryan L83 back down the inside. Kamikaze in a bit of 3 wide with Punju and with Brendan Hyperstar.
Yeah, Kamikaze nearly lost it even before crossing the line. He just nearly did an Alex Gillen from earlier in the race. Punju all the way off the track, not finding any grip out there. And that means that Kamikaze just has the space to defend against Monkey Matt. Up to P5 again. That's Punju a little bit wide as well, just getting Constantine up. Aerotech getting past. Matt 2-on-2. All near enough 3 wide there into what is turn 5, turn 6 and turn 7, sorry. And then down to the hairpin. Can anybody else get a move? Punju looks to have regained the pace, so everything's fine. Storm Molina has got past as well in all of
Oh, Tom! Tom 97's in the barriers on the right-hand side, just passing him now. An absolute horrible end to the day for Tom 97 from 3rd.
What a disaster. They were doing so well. I was just complimenting how they'd managed to get the car under control. And there the commentator's curse happens once again. Meanwhile, out in front, Alex Gillen's gaining a bit of a gap here. 1 second is the gap. So Ryan definitely feeling the strain of that damage on the underfloor. It won't be as bad as more modern machinery, but still there's a lot of downforce generated by that plank.
Well, 5/10, 6/10 of a second. Ryan is hanging in and giving it a good old go. Brendan Hyperstar's 3rd. You then got Kamikaze and Monkey Matt racing it out there for 4th and 5th. Matt's going to have a think, and he thinks better of it into the opening corner then of turn number 1. Punju down in the pits. Big launch down the inside. Aerotech gets it done on Matt 2-1-2.
Yeah, that was a great move. Masterclass right there. Aerotech getting a little bit of confidence.
Ooh, Sparks!
Those tech issues resolving themselves, and Sparks taking all opportunities to get all of the positions back. So battling with Storm Molina now, trying to get into the top 10. He needs to get past Kamikaze, so there's a lot of work to do. Yeah, Ryan has the overspeed, but doesn't have the inside line. He'll have to give this one up. Look for another opportunity. But I think Alex Gillen has gone into that mode of defending right now as Ryan nearly loses it on the overspeed there on the curb. This car is very twitchy on low fuel now.
Yes, and they're going to be at their most aggressive, down to 10.5 minutes. You can see a tiny few amount of sparks coming off the underside there of Alex Gillen's machinery. Big snap there, and you can see there a case of breathe, Ryan, breathe. You're not going to have as much downforce on the front end when you're tucked up directly behind Alex Gillen. You're going to have to wake up and be alert to it, and at least for the moment, Alex Gillen having a few issues out there. So Ryan L83 is going to have to be a little bit choice with the way that he goes about. He makes those moves, he gains those places. He knows how critical this pass will be. This is for bragging rights.
Yeah, I think also that floor damage really hindering him on the higher speed corners. Look how the car twitches in the braking zone. You know, you're generating probably still about 50% of the downforce with these cars on the floor to keep them glued to the track. So if you lose even 10% of that downforce, that's a huge percentage margin to give up in terms of points of downforce, as they call it. And even if you lose 1 or 2 points of that downforce, you're talking about tenths of a second a lap. And that is tenths of a second that Ryan has to find in other parts of the driving, like the braking, like the throttle, and he's just pushing the car a little bit harder. And Alex, meanwhile, can just sit comfortably at the front with that dirty air creating a little bit of a cushion for him, although it won't save him eternally.
Sparks is out of the race. He has been flipped upside down out of the Bilstein curve, and I think his day is written right now with a hefty amount of damage. So that championship effort looks like it's about to come up in smoke in this one move.
Let's see, around the outside. Oh, he's gone. Oh, and he's collected a load of cars. That is Blueberry has been collected, at least in that one, and onto the roof. And that, sadly, is the end of that. Let's see on the outside. So this is with Storm Molina and Aerotech, I think, still. So yeah, Aerotech defends the inside. Just a little tap there, and then they get collided with the wheels, and then Blueberry has nowhere to go. The wheel, it's damaged anyway, even if the car is righted, but it doesn't matter. They're on the roof. That is the end of it. That's quite a big crash.
Yeah, and so back out and away will go Sparks, but a long way down as there goes Kamikaze in what is the most prophetic moment of the championship, seeing his main rival now 1 lap down.
It's been the storytelling of the championship, hasn't it? Everybody has been, as Kamikaze said himself, people have been faster than him, but they've had crashes, they've had incidents. Kamikaze has kept it clean most of the time and has managed to profit from safety cars sometimes where it hasn't been clean, and he's had the pace to just go, if I finish P3, P2 in this race, it's still good points for the championship. Other drivers have been going for wins, ironically like Kamikaze had been doing in this race before he crashed. So it's there's a reason why he's championship or champion elect right now.
Yeah, and that battle is one thing that sorts itself out. This is another. The drivers who started 1 and 2 on the front of this grid. Alex Gillen, who started second, Ryan Littlemore, who started first, and the pair of them together on circuit again. Uphill braking zone here for the Vidal chicanery, and now you are looking around. Oh, another wiggle from Ryan L83. He just catches bucket after bucket after bucket of oversteer when he needs it the least.
He's being so aggressive over the curbs. Alex is avoiding the curbs, probably knowing that, that there's been damage on another car, so he's steering well clear, especially on the last chicane there. It's got a very big sausage curb on the inside, so you don't want to hit that too hard. But Ryan, I mean, he's got damage already. He may as well throw caution to the wind. But you can see, especially around turn 12, just going into the third sector where we were just off board with the cameras on them initially, just twitching all the time, and that means that you can't get the run into the last chicane, and especially throughout the first sector as well, where you need that downforce constantly. He's losing a car length, and that just puts him too far back. To the inside goes Punju on Ancephalosis, making his way up to P9. He can get it stopped just a little bit wide, but Ancephalosis can't do anything about it at the moment. Tom97 moving his way up as well. That is Tiamat Marduk getting past Killer Cleo, who has damage, sadly, still. So that car not looking too good. Maybe some suspension damage as well. It looks like that front right wheel is slightly misaligned.
It's the front wing as well, which is proving to be the toughest to deal with. And fair credit to Killer Cleo. She has not changed that front wing, and she has persisted on with it for the entirety of the race, which means she's on a budget of 1 front wing. Yep,
it's reminiscent of the teams that joined, ironically, the year after this, that were on the shoestring budget in Formula 1 terms, and couldn't find the pace to develop the car, and resorted to tactics like using damaged wings in races where they didn't have a chance. So, yeah.
Here's how hard Alex Gillen's pushing right now. That is a lap time 0.8 of a second quicker than his quali lap.
That's amazing. And it just shows how much the drivers get used to the car, or indeed the track conditions evolve as well. It's possible that with the better track temperature as it cools down, maybe the tyres are getting into a better operating window, as he's definitely pushing. But Ryan is just keeping the pace, 0.7 of a second. It has not changed, but Ryan is running out of time here. Can he do anything? Is there any pace left in that car, or is the damage getting more and more and more the harder he pushes?
Well, he's definitely pushing, no doubt about that, but Alex Gillen, I think, has got all the answers to the test paper, which is, I need to go even quicker than qualifying to prove how quick I am. Brendan Hyperstar Kamikaze a third, fourth, with Monkey Matt in fifth. They can only watch on as these two have ran off into the distance. A 10th between them on this last lap, but Alex Gillen now finally has the confidence, and in the moments where he's pressured the most, that's where you start seeing Alex Gillen at his finest.
Yeah, but I will say he's made a few mistakes this race on the traction, trying to get the best performance. This car, as I think Kamikaze and Ryan have told us about now, is very, very twitchy, and all it takes is one slight miscalculation, especially when you're under pressure, as you said, to just get it a tiny bit wrong, and that's Ryan straight through. The gap's still under a second but it is going to be another fastest lap for Alex. Just a couple of hundredths faster, but crucially, Ryan cannot keep the pace. 0.2 of a second slower on that lap as well. You can see both of them pushing to the limits of the car, but I'd say Alex definitely on the apex has a little bit more speed than Ryan at this point.
Well, it's all about pace, and Ryan L83 right now can't do anything more than what he's trying at this stage. He knows how critical it is to jump up to gain to that level. He's got a big gap now over Brendan Hyperstar, over Kamikaze, over the likes of those who have been absolutely giving it what they can. There is a scrap on as well for 7th place in the final couple minutes, because Blueberry and Storm Molina are starting to close together. Here comes Blueberry from being having a drop early on in the race, going down a lap or two, and now having a chance to still battle it out for some good points.
I can't believe what I'm looking at in the timing screens. Alex Gillen and Ryan are lapping a full second faster than Brendan Hyperstar, or indeed anyone else at the moment. That is insane pace, and I just don't see how Brendan can even close the gap at this point. It's still increasing this lap. Oh, there goes Molina off the road. Storm Molina just loses it on the curb and has to select reverse. I think it was just a case of trying to apply throttle on the curb. Completely unexpected from the comms box here, but Blueberry gets a free overtake, and sadly we don't get to see that battle. Let's have a look at what happens as we get another fastest lap by Alex Gillen. That's by 0.4 of a second now. So yeah, just over the curb and onto the artificial or you know, the green slippery stuff, and yeah, around you go.
Just about avoided it, and Alex Gillen here with 2 laps to go here at the Nürburgring has just put a 32.4 down and said match that, and suddenly that gap has exploded open.
Yeah, I mean, this is just Alex demonstrating, as our producer is having fun with the titles right now, just demonstrating why when he gets the lead and when he is confident, he has absolutely dominating pace. I will say Ryan will probably be very annoyed, for lack of better words, about the damage, but that's part of racing. If you push the car too hard to get damage, that's what happens, and Alex is taking advantage of that. But still, the pace that these two are demonstrating right now is insane. Still 0.5 of a second faster than Brendan Hyperstar is Ryan, even with that damage.
Well, it shows that Ryan L83 has a big heart full of opportunities to try and make this all happen, but he is now just a little bit away with if that goes to the way it needs to. One final lap on Creator Series Season 1 here on iRacing. Alex Gillen with now just a 1.3 second margin. Does he feel like he's got enough? He can't afford to lift off of things just yet, because Ryan can come roaring back if there is anything less than that through the AMG Arena here at turn number 3, looking over towards turn 4, a 90-degree flick right and back up onto circuit again. The chase very much on at this moment in time, but the gap has just extended out to 2 seconds down through the Padgett Racing curve, and now heading its way over towards the Goodyear hairpin down at the very bottom end of this circuit and the lowest point of the Nürburgring circuit in its entirety. Now looking to chase back up the hill through the gilded corner of the Schumacher S's, and then over to Xiaomi corner, which comes along next. This has been a day in which you have to have confidence to get to the front, navigate yourself through the various safety cars. 54 laps will be completed by the end, out of Bilstein, up through the Falcon Bogan, and then over towards that Vidal chicanery in the Hyundai N-curve. And it's been about open wheel. He's always up there, he's always close, he's always fighting. There's always one answer that comes around. Lol Gillen wins! Round the final corner, Alex Gillen crosses the line and takes the season finale, and we go back to 4th place, because it will be confirmed. Rounding the final corner, Kamikaze is your Creator Series champion for Season 1.
What a outstanding result, as the unsafety cars being very, very unsafety at the race end there. I think we've had some light contact there at the end. But yeah, Kamikaze's done what he needed to do. He's so has Alex Gillen, just demonstrated outstanding pace that race. It was his, and there, Blueberry is the first victim of the unsafety cars at the end of the race. But I must say, I think our drivers have had a lot of fun with this one, as I think that was Team McMardick there, getting into a bit of contact as, yes, all of the drivers deciding that they are very good targets, these F4 cars, and that's a lot of foreshadowing for next season as well.
Kamikaze's burning it down at turn 2, celebrating in a way that only he can for a championship. A wonderful result. And you know what they say, John? They say that rally drivers are the most talented racing drivers out there. You only need to see how many Race of Champions have been won by Sebastian Loeb.
I need to get that on a voice recording so I can use that myself to play back. But yes, for sure, they have amazing adaptability. They can drive pretty much anything to a reasonable pace. And Kamikaze has demonstrated that, including in this Formula car, that he can mix it at the front and he can do what it takes. And I think, yeah, it's a formidable thing to try and fight against, to be honest.
And we're going to bring him in right now to chat. Kamikaze, you are Creator Series champion.
Thank you, thank you. Now I finally can say I'm champion in 2 different games.
Must be a great feeling, relief, right? You knew that it was kind of, not, I won't say guaranteed, but you had to do something special to lose it. So when that mistake happens, did you have a moment of fret, or were you like, okay, head down, let's do it again?
I shout out a couple of words for myself in the voice chat, and yeah, I know what you call it. Okay, we settled down for safety cars, and yeah, but the restart in the safety car screwed us over again and again. So yeah, we need to work for it, and I spin from the lead. So yeah, that's my problem. It's a me problem.
You are champion. You now have the distinction of being the champion. That's a notch on your belt, but it's also a mark that everyone else will now look to try and take away from you heading into Season 2 in about 3 weeks' time. How do you look to try and defend your crown?
I will defend that from the steward's side, and I think that's decided. I will not compete in the next season. So the championship is up for grab.
So it is anybody's to call for, but John, I believe you've got one final thing to ask.
Well, I just wanted to clarify for Kamikaze, you're not participating in it because you don't want to, you're changing all of your setup from what I have understood. So I just wanted to ask you as a final question, what was your favourite moment of the season?
GR86. That was so close, so fun, and stacked up in a group, and we race. That was fun. Slow and fast, slow and close racing.
Well, there you have it. Kamikaze there joining us, and Creator Series champion once again. What a wonderful showcase, as we will get confirmation of results then on your screen. A win for Alex Gillen, which is something that he seemingly always finds a way of managing at the latest of late availabilities. His winning margin 2.2 over Ryan L83, with Brendan Hyperstar rounding out the positions on the podium. 4th place would belong to Kamikaze, your champion, with Monkey Matt finishing in 5th and Aerotech in 6th position. Blueberry will end up in 7th, with the likes in 8th position of Tiamat Marduk. Punju would be 9th, and after being up as high as 3rd, Tom 97 would round out your top 10. Over the page then to 11th, where Storm Molina would find herself ahead of Ancephalosis. Josh's Corner would be 13th and the last car on the lead lap. A quiet day in the end for Sparks, 14th, and a championship that falls by the wayside, with Killer Cleo in 15th and Matt 212 in 16th. Your only retiree from the race would be Formula Kai, with your 3 unsafety cars then leading everybody back home. John, a race that finishes to time, a season that finishes on time, and well, as you can say, with what Creator Series has been over the course of 2025 to kick things off with a summer shakedown, I think we have found ourselves a great opportunity to say there are creators out there that want to try and prove that they are top dog, and I would look around and think, you know what a great first season. Now let's put them in something where they can all work for it in Season 2.
and everybody has the incentive as well, now that Kamikaze's out of the picture, to try and become the one that's consistent and getting the results there. So I think there will be a lot of highly motivated creators out there, because one, they've demonstrated that it's very, very fun. I've had so many messages from drivers saying that race was just completely out of this world, especially when we went with the trucks and the off-roading stuff. So it will be a case of the drivers will also have to be careful, because we are doing some unusual stuff with the cars as well.
And what will also be massive in that second season is knowing that it is a truncated style of season. It's not going to be one that balloons out to be this 15, 18, 20 championship round epic. It is one which is very condensed, 6 rounds of the championship to get yourself sorted. It will run through in towards December, and say that's where the end of the season comes in. We're going to get a chance to chat with some more drivers who are very much happy that they want to have a little go with us. I tell you what, we have to go to the driver who ended up second in the championship. I will touch that point a little bit later, but Sparks is here to have a little bit of a chat with us. Sparks, a case of so near and so far as well, but really a championship for you which didn't really have any standout moment, just consistently there, knocking on the door. Unfortunately, Kamikaze didn't let you in.
Yeah, not quite. I mean, I feel like the elements were against me this week, because one, I was dropping about half a second per corner due to being ill. Got a sore throat on Monday, so already getting the excuses out. And oh my god, that race was all over the place today. So yeah, I don't think it was going to happen today, but it was always fun to try and fun to drag it on to the final race. And big congrats to Kamikaze for bringing it home in the end. He did a great job all season long, and I'm quite glad to have actually been able to be in mathematical contention till the end. So yeah, not a bad season, and had a lot of fun.
So with us switching to the F4 cars next season, where do you think that puts you in terms of challenging for next season?
Well, I mean, I used to absolutely love the F4 cars, so I need to get back on the horse a little bit there, I think, because they're such a good car to drive. So I don't know about a championship fight. It just depends on execution, especially with the fact that we don't have qualifying anymore. So it's going to be very topsy-turvy, but I think it should be a good season. Maybe try and get my first win first, and then maybe think about trying to win the championship.
So looking at where you've been over the course of the Creator Series, we talk about this being more than just one of these race for the championship style runs, even though you were in with a shot of it. But it's also about the camaraderie between the drivers, creating content for everyone. How has this been as an opening season, getting a little bit of a taste of everything that iRacing has to offer?
Genuinely, it's been like probably the greatest opportunity I've had on YouTube at the moment. Like, obviously I've been in a few events here and there where I've been invited and had a really good time, but this time it's been a full season of just racing all these creators and finding out who's good where and who's really fucking chill and everything, sorry for the language. And it's genuinely been quite a world of an experience, and just so fun to actually just have a chance to race everyone and be part of the broadcast and everything. So yeah, it's been different to what I'm usually used to, and I think it's a good thing. So yeah, had a really good time with it.
I think the smile that we saw on your face during the race said everything to me. In any case, you could see the determination, the commitment through the corner. Then on the straights, just huge grin, like, you know, Sunday drive.
Yeah, I mean, I was always looking at chat. They were spurring me on, giving me the heads up, giving me information. And despite being upside down on my roof, we still got to the end, which I think is basically the main goal. It's not about winning or whatever. It's just have a lot of fun, have fun crashing with people, make some content, and yeah, give the viewers and yourself a great time. So I cannot complain at all.
Well, no complaints here. Sparks then joining us second in the championship and having a day of 14th by the end of running. We're going to get a chance to talk with a driver that we haven't actually had a chance to talk to all season long. Ancephalosis joins us now. And, well, for you, Ancephalosis, I think a season in which there's a lot to build from. We've seen you out there. We've seen you constantly finding the finishes, looking to put the hard yards in. What has Creator Series meant to you for a season one?
Oh man, well, coming especially having some prior experience in the Creator Series, coming from EA WRC Creator Series. Creator Series to me just means fun with friends, man. Whether the results are good or bad, you can count on the Creator Series putting a smile on your face. It's such a good group of people who are just the right amount of competitive. Everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to get shoulder to shoulder and have a good time racing hard. But nobody wants to ruin each other's races because we all respect each other. We're all good friends. So, yeah, a lovely season. Definitely a few really painful moments for me personally throughout the season. Just between personal mistakes or incidents getting caught up with other drivers. But that's part of racing, and I've definitely had an amazing time overall.
So following up on that, I'll call you Scandi Andy from now on, relating to the previous WRC experience. But what was your favourite moment then? Amongst all of the difficulties, what happened that you think that was a really good point?
Ooh, okay, that's a tricky question.
Oh dear, he's having to think about it.
Yeah, there was some very funny moments. There was some particularly funny moments just, between goofing around in warm-up sessions, trying to jump over people monster car style in the trucks. Lots of good laughs with good friends. Do I want to take the easy way out and say my favorite moment was when I led for 20 laps in Crandon or Wild West Motor Speedway? Maybe that was my favorite part, but honestly, I think it was the laughs. It was the crashing into each other after the race, the jokes that were said in the in-between times. A lot of those silly moments. I think for me, the one that comes to mind is when we were doing the Legends Across the licenses. There was this moment, I don't know if it was practice or a warm-up or what, it wasn't the race, but it was like a Congo line of 4 Legends cars. And I'm just minding my own business going. They're not that fast, but when you're going full race speed and you don't expect to see something, like there was just nothing I could do. I had to crash into this Congo line of 4 Legends cars, and I just uncontrollably laughed. It was so goofy. I guess that's got to take the cake for my favorite moment. Not necessarily a rough shoulder-to-shoulder racing moment, but again, those laughs were what make the Creator Series special for me.
It always will, and we'll wish you the best of luck. And Cephalosis there joining us after what was a wonderful season. Very quickly, we'll jump in and get Brendan Hyperstar's perspective of today and the season as it is. Brendan, a day today for you where it looked like the top 2 just had a little bit too much.
Yeah, definitely quicker. I did my pit strategy knowing like I was not going to be able to race Ryan or Alex. So my whole strategy was like, okay, I know the car was really going to be slow on heavy fuel, so I did not want to pit on the first yellow, the first safety car. So I just decided to stay out and stretch as much as I could. And if we'd stayed green the whole way on pace, we would have had a podium. I'm pretty certain. Yeah, the safety car because of the accident, which so be it, right? That's what's going to happen if the strategy goes wrong. So we paid the price. So we had some more safety cars though, and then we made a pretty ballsy move into turn 1. And it worked out somehow. And yeah, on the podium. It was a really good race, though. I love this car. I've never done an official race in this car. I think I understand why. It's not a very forgiving car, but it is a fun car for sure.
Your companion there has just disappeared off of camera, but I was going to ask, how much did they contribute to the podium here? And how difficult might it have been with the distractions in the other case?
Lily, that's my cat Lily. She usually settles down when I'm racing, but it's usually when I start talking is when she like starts freaking out. So because she thinks like I'm on the phone, like I'll call my parents and she'll start running up to me because I'm suddenly no longer giving her attention. So when I'm talking to chat and when I'm talking to you, it's like she knows the race is over, so she can finally walk up to me. But no, throughout the race, I heard her like pawing at my bed comforter, and it kind of took me out of the moment for just like a second, but it was okay. Lily's a big troublemaker, but she's not that much of a troublemaker.
Well, you've certainly been no trouble all season long. Brendan Hyperstar then joining us and picking up a third place finish here today. Finally, we will jump in and talk a little bit about Creator Series Season 2 because we've got Eli here, we've got Punju who's jumping in along with us. Now, I just want to chat with you for a bit, Punju, about Creator Series Season 2. We've gone from having a smorgasbord of everything to now deciding, you know what? We are all in on this flavor of F4.
Yep. So the thought process behind it, I mean, I love a good bit of variety, right? But at the same time, I think there should be a theme for every single season. And there's a whole bunch of things that you could do behind a theme, right? You can do variety, which is what we did for this one, which is Summer Shakeup. But I think, having a nice theme for the next one, which is not just, hardcore racing, but in a car that everybody loves, in tracks that are really easy to access with a very good, consistent grid, I think is going to be something that everyone's going to really enjoy. And so, I wanted to have something that's like almost a little bit easier to wheel around so everybody can push their absolute limit and get even more awesome racing. Because, I mean, y'all know we get some pretty good racing here.
Will we see any unusual combinations with that as we have this season?
So we'll definitely see some difficult combinations when it comes to the track. We do also have a special event, and I'm really excited for the special event. We're going to call it Indy Can't, which is taking IndyCar to a track that it definitely has no business being at, Le Mans, which is going to be awesome. But the F4 rounds, I think there's a couple that are going to be a little difficult. There's one that we have to go to every season, I think, and it is the Charlotte Roval. I think we have to go there every single season, right? So we'll be there for sure.
So, in terms of moving from Season 1 into Season 2, there will be a couple weeks where we have this break, get ourselves situated. For those who are looking at what Creator Series is, what it means to be a creator, what it means to be a part of this series, what are you looking for out of the creators and the creator application process to bring more fantastic creators into Creator Series?
That's a good question. I'm just looking for people that fit the energy that we're looking for here at Creator Series. As you can tell, we have a very funny, kind of running joke of like we're very anti-sweat. It's just all about coming in here, having fun, taking the race not so seriously, and just messing around and enjoying each other's company. The more that we laugh, the louder the VCs, the more that we're talking about. I think the better it is. That's my definition of success when it comes to a race. Is that all the content creators themselves are having a good time, and I think that that's what I'm looking for, is people that are going to be able to do that. So, yeah.
Well, I just want to say maybe, what do you think was possibly your highlight for the season? Because I've asked a lot of drivers that question. It's a broad question, I know. It's going to be difficult to answer. But I think I'd chuck that one your way.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think we started out about as strong as it could get with a lap 1 crash at Classic Monza. It's hard to start with a highlight, right? Like literally the first lap of the season. But that was pretty funny. That was awesome. And then also the final 3-4 laps, was it, of Indy 500, and just how incredibly intense they were. Those are probably my two highlights for the season. Those are my favorites.
Wow.
Very good answer.
It's been a wonderful season, and we've enjoyed having you along the way, and also putting a lot of help in behind the scenes as well. Punju joining us then and putting together one very brilliant season's worth of racing action. We do have the ability to get your full standings, and Punju, of course, who is also there with the standings. You have confirmation Kamikaze is your champion on 2,888 points. Sparks in second, Brendan Hyperstar third in the championship. Give some credit with that late form surge from Aerotechy. Staves off Matt 2-on-2 by 22 championship points for a top 4.
Yeah, that is incredible. With Ancephalosis having a few good events as well, up to P6. Ryan, Ryan's had that season where he's been at the front in some races and then off pace in others, or very unlucky. And of course, shout out to also Aidan Pohl, who did very well at the start of the season, but kind of tailed off in terms of results. With, again, Blueberry and Alex Gooden getting very unlucky from time to time to round at the top 10. But that's kind of reminiscent of the season, isn't it? Drivers have had their luck, drivers have had their unlucky moments, and that's what makes the beauty of Creator Series.
And Creator Series Season 1 has been this. Variety has been the spice of life. But we are going away from variety. We're going away from sampling a little bit of this and a little bit of that. We're deciding, right, we are going to make the best F4 that we possibly can and say that is on the horizon, as is the likes of some amazing action on iRacing like the FIA F4 Esports Championship. So you get to see a bit of A and a bit of B. You get your super hardcore races and you get your little bit of light-hearted fun as well to come along here with us on iRacing and, of course, with the Creator Series. Want to give a massive thanks to the team who has worked so hard behind the scenes to get this all sorted, from your 3 unsafety car drivers of Nick Pakin, of Scotty Designs, and of TK. TK, of course, has jumped in with the likes of T-Dub. You've got John Isom Harris alongside me, and of course, my name is Jake Sperry. Gareth Allen has been on your cameras for you. This has been what the Creator Series is all about. Amazing racing that brings amazing personalities to life. But one thing has been certain. There is a champion. His name is Kamikaze, and he's been nigh on unstoppable all season long. Thank you so much for joining us with Amazing Racing. We'll be back in 3 weeks' time when we get the F4s out and say Season 2. It's up to you.